classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're thinking about doing a little home improvement, especially one that you don't have to do the installation, think about getting a Beam central vacuum system. It's the kind of home upgrade that really checks all the boxes, because when you compare and evaluate, a Beam system makes so much sense. There's a reason why nearly every high-end home in St. Louis is built with a Beam. A Beam vacuum system is very smart because it adds value to your home. Beam whole house vacuum system starts at just $11.99, including installation, and it's an investment, not just in your home, but in a healthy lifestyle. Every time you vacuum, you'll save time because a Beam is more efficient and 5 times stronger, so you'll clean better in less time. And since you're getting all the deep down dirt and grit, vacuuming with a Beam will keep your rugs and carpets looking brand new for many years to come. So you get value from your Beam system every day. Call Beam of St. Louis today, 314-567-1515 or online at beamstl.com.
Beam's home sale is starting early. Every system for every size home now on sale.
Serving St. Louis for over 96 years. KMOX.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores on the show on KMOX. Lot of hoopla surrounding the Super Bowl commercials this year, as there is every year. What did we say? $7 million
for 30 seconds.
For 30
By
seconds.
the way, Jesus has got a lot of money.
Well, I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I saw he had commercials almost in every quarter. He gets us, you know.
So it it says he has 2.
Yeah.
I'm saying he didn't make the commercials. Yeah, there were 2. The group He Gets Us reportedly spent $20 million on 2 Super Bowl advertisements. Those were controversial in some circles.
Were they?
AOC didn't like them.
Oh, whatever.
I know. She did. She tweeted out, "Something tells me Jesus would not spend millions of dollars on Super Bowl ads to make fascism look benign." And I'm not exactly sure what she meant, because the commercials show, the point of the commercials was to show more inclusivity and how it
Right.
emphasizes the humanity of Jesus and how he gets us, and it's about love. And I don't know what she was referring to with the fascism.
I think she's mainly upset about the people who may be funding it.
Okay.
Who were the Hobby Lobby folks, etc. You know, look, I thought the commercials were, I mean, I watched them. I thought, oh, that's nice. And thought, well, what are you promoting? Jesus gets us. Okay. He gets us. But they weren't the only religion, the type of religious organization. Scientology, I guess that's a religion. They also were out there advertising.
I didn't see the Scientology
You didn't?
ad. No.
No, I read about it this morning.
Was Tom Cruise in it?
And I don't think so.
Yeah.
Now, celebrities were in every commercial, right? Like, that used to be the unique thing. We could have had a bingo card.
Yeah.
Like, first commercial to have a puppy or some animal other than a cat or a dog. Hollywood celebrity. Crypto. Your first QR code.
Yeah.
Did you see the one with the QR code? It's just there, and everybody's like, well, what is this for? I'm like, they're trying to get you to, download their whatever.
I think it's a great idea. The commercial bingo card absolutely
right.
Would have been a hit. Here's my issue with all of the celebrities. I feel like these advertisers are now replacing cleverness with a celebrity face and it's a celebrity saying a line that's really
Right.
not that funny or clever. I went back to, I don't know, 2010, 2011, whenever it was. They had the E-Trade babies.
Uh-huh.
To me, that was a hilarious
yeah.
commercial. It was funny, but there weren't any celebrities in it.
Right.
It was an AI or CG baby talking about trading stocks. Now, they're not really funny. It's just a celebrity
Right.
saying a pretty prosaic line or even cheesy, cringy.
Right.
But as long as you have the big face, I guess that's what they think sells.
I guess the only celebrity ad I liked was the one with Matt Damon, or not Matt Damon, Ben Affleck working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Uh-huh.
And J-Lo pulls up and she's like, "This is what you do when you say you're going to work?" I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was like, okay, John Hamm's with Hellman's. What's going on here? Or
Yeah.
there was just too much of that. Unless I missed it, I didn't see the Clydesdales at all last night.
How did I miss the Clydesdales?
Were they in there?
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
they did have an advertisement. Now, Bud Light had a cute commercial where the couple was like dancing around, having a beer, and you later find out they were on hold, with customer support.
Gotcha.
And it was just a cool customer support song. And so
Yeah.
they're dancing, and all of a sudden the lady comes on and she goes, it'll be just a couple of more minutes,
Yeah.
and they're all, and then they just go back to dancing. It was kind of cute.
To me, the best commercial by far, because it caused chaos, was the Tubi commercial.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was the remote control
Totally.
gimmick where it looked like
Somebody changed
had
the
changed
television
the channel. Yeah. And we all yelled, "Who's doing that? Who's
Right.
got the remote?" And I tweeted out how many people just yelled at their TV, "Who's doing that? What's happening? Who's got the remote? Turn it back." And the responses were absolutely. We were all yelling at our
I
TV.
went looking for my remote control thinking,
Yeah.
somebody sat on it or something.
Now, another guy on Twitter said if they had made that part just a little bit longer, it would have been the talk of the Super Bowl, because it was just long enough to panic, but then it went back and you realized pretty quickly it
Before you
was a
started
commercial.
changing your channel? Yeah.
Yes, but I think if they had made it go a little bit longer, it would have created chaos.
Totally.
People would have changed the channel, restarted their TVs, because none of us knew, or at least the people around me, we didn't know. I didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other big group to me, first of all, there was no crypto. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
And
right.
last year, I felt like everything was crypto. This year,
Mhm.
I felt like everything was a Hollywood movie.
Mhm.
And I've now decided that I am no longer Hollywood's target audience because everything was a superhero movie. The only movie that I felt somewhat enticed to want to go see, and that was because it's maybe a throwback to my childhood, is
Yeah.
the Indiana Jones. But otherwise, it was Flash and Fast and Furious and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, none of this stuff appeals to me. But obviously, they're spending $7 million, $14 million to advertise this stuff. It must work.
Yeah. I know. I think I saw more of the game this year, less of the commercials. Like I said, I saw a few, but none of them really caught my attention except for the Tubi commercial
Right, that was
and
good.
the He Gets Us,
He
the
Gets
Jesus
Us.
commercials, because a lot of them were black and white. There was some moving music. I know there was one where it showed like black and white videos of immigrants and refugees. And it, said, well, Jesus was a refugee. He was an immigrant as well. Mary and Joseph, fleeing persecution. So those were kind of arresting. But other than that, it was the Tubi one that stood out to me. The refrigerator one with John Hamm
Yeah.
in the refrigerator, and Pete Davidson opens the door, and
Yeah,
Brie
makes no
Larson.
sense. It was just like, how many celebrities can we pack in here?
Right.
What about the Eminem commercial? I didn't understand that at all with Maya Rudolph. Is that her name? Maya
Yes.
Rudolph and
Mhm.
clams and M&Ms. I guess it was supposed to be funny, but I didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it funny?
I didn't think it was
Yeah,
funny,
me neither.
but maybe I'm poo-pooing the commercials. 314-436-7900. You can call or text in 314-436-7900. We would like to hear your thoughts on the Super Bowl, the game, the halftime show, the commercials. But next, we will be chatting with Dan Meehan, President and CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Some businesses want legislators in Jefferson City to take action on crime plaguing St. Louis. Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores on the show.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand,
walking through the streets of Soho in the rain.
Have you heard the news?
I'm Megan Lynch. These are the stories making news.
Start your day with Total Information AM.
I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Debbie, Tom, and Megan bring you St. Louis's news.
What, Missouri's new voting laws.
Traffic from Roger Brand.
Busy on the highways.
And the latest forecast.
Thank you with the meteorology scene DeVore.
At 8.
I'm Carol Daniel.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
It's Total Information AM expanded with more news, interviews, and in-depth story coverage.
COVID boosters.
Total Information AM on 98.7 FM, 1120 AM, and the Odyssey app.
Charlie Brennan sees clearly thanks to Dr. Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Don't worry, you didn't miss a thing. The amazing Payment Freedom event is back at St. Charles Nissan. All you need to do is head to St. Charles Nissan, choose your favorite new ride, and then drive payment free until the summer of 2023. That's right, you make no car payments until summer 2023 at St. Charles Nissan, conveniently located a quarter-mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off I-70, or you can visit online at stcharlesnissan.com. Interest, if any, accrues during the deferral period, expires 2/28/23. Sunshine and 49 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. A U.S. fighter jet shot down an unidentified object over Lake Huron Sunday on orders from President Biden. It was the fourth such downing in 8 days. Moldova's president has outlined what she says is Moscow's plan to overthrow Moldova's government and involves the use of external saboteurs that would ultimately, quote, put our country at the disposal of Russia and throw it off course to one day join the European Union. A judge has ordered the release of parts of a report produced by a special grand jury that investigated efforts by former President Trump and his allies to overturn his narrow 2020 election loss in Georgia. Joe Steiger, business manager for the St. Louis Police Officers Association, says contract negotiations between the union and the city of St. Louis are not going great. The 30th annual Purina Pet Parade saw massive crowds filling the streets of historic Soulard on Sunday. More than 1,500 dogs marched in the world's largest costume pet parade, more than $15,000 raised for Open Door Animal Shelter. Taking a look at the traffic, no problems to report at this moment. And the weather is going to be really nice today with plenty of sunshine, a little breeze, a high of 58 degrees. Right now it's 49 downtown.
It's the time of year where podcasts, radio stations, and TV channels share stories about the Black community for a whole 28 days. I'm Famie Redwood, host of the podcast Beyond Black History Month. We tell Black stories year-round, from dangerous hair products,
Bumps of my edges begin to come out,
to the 50th anniversary of hip-hop.
Hip-hop was about keeping it real.
Listen and subscribe to Beyond Black History Month on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Broadcasting from the Underline 3 Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
They say good things come to those who wait, unless you bite into a Hot Pocket right out of the microwave. Waiting to see a financial advisor about retirement could also bring some pain. The pain of watching your money evaporate in a stock market decline. The pain of trying to figure out Social Security and Medicare on your own. Or the pain of writing huge checks to the IRS that you really didn't have to. At the All Financial Group, they believe the more you know, the better decisions they can make. They offer a complimentary retirement assessment. Find out where you are, how you're doing, and if there's a way to improve your retirement outcome. Don't wait. Call the All Financial Group today, 636-230-8824, or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com and set up your complimentary retirement review.
Investment advisory services offered by All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in Missouri. Insurance products are offered through its affiliate, All Insurance Group, LLC, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Wednesday night, it's men's Billikens basketball action as they take on Davidson. Pre-game 7:47, tip at 8. Hear the game here on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
It's Super Bowl Monday, the Monday that everybody dreads. But to help take the edge off, we've got Michael Kelly in studio, filling in for Chris Ranji, who is somewhere in Chicago, probably trying to screw his head back on.
Yeah, he'll be back tomorrow, right?
He'll be back.
Yeah,
he'll be back.
He's just got to find his hat, and he'll be on his way back to St. Louis, and then back here on the show, and everything will be right with the world.
That's right. I'm Amy Mark Scores, and joining us now is the president and CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dan Meehan. There is a letter signed by over 500 employers and business leaders urging lawmakers to take action on public safety measures this legislative season. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So crime is the number one issue when we look at the St. Louis area and its effect on all of the surrounding areas. This letter urges legislators to look at ways to address hotspot approaches to crime, reduce recidivism, increase public safety staffing, and increase prosecutorial consistency and transparency, among other things. How did this letter come about, and what motivated everyone to take action now?
The letter came about via our campaign to try to stem the tide that's going on, not just in St. Louis, but statewide, with crime and the need to have better public safety. We have been contacted by numerous members of ours around the state and in St. Louis, of course, to try to get involved, try to fix this problem that we have. We surveyed on it. We've done the research. It is a definite, the condition out there right now is a definite impediment to economic development and business investment and job creation throughout the state of Missouri, and exacerbated in the St. Louis area. So we put this letter out saying, here we've got some bills moving through the legislative process that would address aspects that we feel need to be taken care of. And we're very impressed by the response we got. Like you said, we've got over 500 signers on it right now, which shows that this has broad support among the business community to do something positive in this area.
Yeah, Dan, and we all are familiar with St. Louis really is the economic engine of the state of Missouri. And you're talking about specifically not only just companies that currently have employees that are here in St. Louis, but it's really hard to lure people to Missouri into the St. Louis area with the narrative that exists and the reality that exists related to crime.
We hear it all the time, Mike. People look at St. Louis as an opportunity. You're right. It is the economic engine of the state. Where you all are sitting, you're within 25 miles of 43% of our economy and jobs. And when companies look at the St. Louis region, if you Google St. Louis, what comes up? You're going to see stats on violent crimes. You're going to see information on carjacking. It is known around the country as having that problem. That is why it's such an impediment. It's why we need to take action. And there's been really nothing done up until now. You look at last year when the governor made this a priority, 30 bills were filed, 2 passed. So we've got one moving this year that's been approved by the House. It'll be in the Senate, heard in a couple of weeks probably. And we hold out hope that between the legislature taking action, the governor focusing on this, and people just realizing that this is a real problem. It's a quality of life issue in addition to a detriment to our economy and to business attraction.
Yeah, and we talk every day about the crime in St. Louis, how perception is reality, whether it's people living further out in the county, west or south, being reluctant to come downtown, or businesses from out of state who don't know the difference between St. Louis or St. Charles or Chesterfield and just see the headlines about crime. But what would you say to the argument that if businesses are saying, well, St. Louis needs to get a handle on crime, what if the city says, yeah, well, businesses need to invest in the city and help the economically depressed areas?
It goes both ways. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing. If you're concerned about going downtown because you're concerned about your safety, why would you want to locate downtown? So both things have to happen. But the trend right now has been just like in other major metros around the country, you see people conducting violent crimes and being out on the street within days. And there's a failure to convict. There's a failure to protect the general public from the handful of violent criminals out there. If you conduct a violent crime, you should be put away. And it's that simple. And that's just not happening to a major extent in the city of St. Louis and also in the county.
How's your letter being received, Dan, from the legislature? Obviously, you know, St. Louis is such a political lightning rod when it comes to Jefferson City. It's the quickest way to kill a bill, just tie it to St. Louis. Are you finding people across the state realizing that this is an issue that is spreading beyond the borders of the St. Louis region?
Our report on public safety was conducted analyzing the entire state. So we have a statewide focus. That's our lane. We work with the entire state. And there's pockets around the state, not in St. Louis, not in Kansas City, that also have a problem in this area. So it's a statewide issue. If you look at the numbers, if you look at violent crimes per capita or property crimes per capita, we top out in the top 5 or 10 out of all 50 states. And we need to, that's why we're looking at the legislature and the governor to take action on this. We're not seeing action in St. Louis City. We're not seeing action in St. Louis County or Kansas City, but we're doing what we can on a statewide approach to try to address this issue.
When you say you're not seeing action like in St. Louis County, what do you mean by that? We've seen the different task forces, like the auto theft task force in St. Louis County, that was copied off of the very successful task force in St. Charles County. Are you getting a lack of cooperation with the county?
No, not a lack of cooperation, but we need to see more of that. I think, frankly, the city and the county need to take care of this problem on their local level. We'll try to handle it on the statewide level, but the city and county need to step up their game in this area.
Would your organization with the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I know you said you operate on the statewide level. Could you write a letter? Could you have a meeting individually with city leaders, with county leaders, with St. Charles County leaders as well?
Certainly, and we look forward to that. That's probably the next couple steps that needs to happen. We need to engage with the entire state on this, not just St. Louis City, St. Louis County. What we're looking at, this is a people issue. You look at the men and women in blue and how they too often get disrespected. It's about changing that perception of the police that too often gets maligned. And it's also about the people that have made a mistake or two in life that are coming out of the prison system. They need to be ready to re-engage in society in a productive manner. They need to have be able to find a birth certificate or an ID. We need to look at training programs so they can have a skill once they get out of the system and they can be employable. So it's about, like you said earlier, reducing recidivism. It's about getting people reacclimated to society, and it's about making the quality of life that much better in the entire state.
Dan, if people want to see the letter that you've written or the report that the Chamber of Commerce has put together, where can they find that?
Michael, on our website at www.mochamber.com, you can find the letter. You can sign on to it. We'd encourage people to do so. We have companies signing it, large and small, and in between, and we have individuals signing it. I signed it. So we'd encourage people to check out our website and help us out with this. We are all in this together on this issue.
And I know one of the issues on the letter that was signed by all the business owners had to do with transparency in the circuit attorney's office, the prosecuting attorney's office. Recently, the House did pass a measure allowing the governor to appoint a special prosecutor to step in certain areas of violent crime when statistics reach a certain number to help out the circuit attorney's office. I guess some would look at it as helping out. Others would look at it as stepping in. But either way, it looks like that could continue to move forward.
That's the bill I referenced earlier.
Yeah.
House Bill 301 is the number. It's sponsored by Lane Roberts, state representative from Joplin, Missouri. It is passed the House, and it will be considered in the Senate. I think the odds are very good that we end up with a bill in this space this year. It's not easy to pass a bill, but the attention that must be paid to public safety is understood by the Missouri legislature. And they, like Michael was alluding to, they're from all over the state, and it can be a tough thing to get something done for the city of St. Louis, but this is a statewide approach. This bill is good for the entire state of Missouri. It's good for St. Louis, and it does give the governor that opportunity, if it exists, to step into an area and appoint a special prosecutor when these crimes, these violent crimes, are not being prosecuted, are being left alone, and you're seeing these violent criminals able to roam the streets.
Dan Meehan, President and CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, thanks so much for your time this morning. We'll be catching up with you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Well, Michael, I mean, it's the issue.
Well, yeah. And, it's not only businesses just leaving St. Louis, the city of St. Louis. And we've got numbers of them that have chosen to leave St. Louis and go to St. Louis County. It's also luring business opportunities. And I think if you talk to a lot of the collar counties, we're not losing because we don't have the right incentives or we don't have the good school districts. We're losing opportunities to bring new business to St. Louis because of the perception of crime. Now, there's other issues in there, too. The Missouri legislature is passing some legislation that's problematic to the LGBT community and a lot of other groups out there that is keeping businesses. But let's not kid ourselves. The number one driver that is keeping people away from St. Louis is crime. And it's not a problem that's just being impacted here in the city of St. Louis. It's happening throughout the entire region.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. And in just a minute, actually, we want to hear from you. We've got the texts rolling in about the Super Bowl commercials. We'll get to those. If you want to chime in, have your text read, or maybe give us a call, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. We want to hear from you. Call or text in. Meanwhile, if you are a business owner and you have 5 or more employees and you managed to make it through the past couple of years with all of the challenges that have been thrown your way, here's what you need to do. Go to getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com. You could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. That's right, up to $26,000 per employee, and it's not a loan. There's nothing that you'll have to pay back later. It's a refund of your taxes. And I know the hard part can be cutting through the red tape and getting your business the refund money. Well, go to getrefunds.com. The team of tax attorneys that they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. And I know tax season is very stressful. You're gathering all your papers together, and you're like, I don't want to add anything else to my plate. Well, here's the good news. They do all the work. There's no charge up front. They'll simply share a percentage of the cash that they get for you. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, Cash back at participating convenience stores, too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Obsessed, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain, very intense. I had instability. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And I was driving past the Good Feet store. I mean, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure they fit me with the right thing. They brought out several different arch supports and gave me the opportunity to try them in shoes and walk around with them until they found the perfect ones. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerberg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort you might have been missing for years. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
Planning for an upcoming trip? It's important to know that updated COVID-19 boosters are currently available at no cost to you. Remember that immunity could take time to build. Check eligibility and schedule at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Amy Marks scores.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
And playing the role of Chris Ranji is Michael Kelly.
Hello.
And speaking of did you see this, we're getting a lot of texts with people saying, hey, did you see this Super Bowl commercial? We've got one from the 314 that says, if you're a Breaking Bad fan, I thought the commercial with Jesse and Mr. White making the popcorn and chips was really funny.
Yeah, I never saw Breaking Bad, so I knew what it was, but
Yeah.
I guess I kind of got the gist of it.
What's funny is because of all the streaming shows and the balkanization of entertainment, where everything is broken up into the different streaming services and the series, the celebrities aren't just the big Hollywood blockbuster
Right.
celebrities anymore. I mean, a lot of them are from these Netflix series or
Totally.
Hulu. And if you don't watch that series, you don't know who you're looking at.
Yeah.
There were more commercials with celebrities. And again, I'm the worst. I'm a horrible person. I don't watch a lot of series, so I didn't know who all the celebrities
Did you
were.
see this? What about John Travolta doing the singing a version of Grease? And now, you know, he sounded great
Yeah.
and he was dancing. He just looks so weird with that Mr. Clean hat doing Grease
Yeah.
song, you know?
John Travolta is looking increasingly weird anyway. I mean, he
Right.
was never a normal looking guy. He
Right.
always kind of had this, well, John Travolta vibe about him. Did you like the Caddyshack commercial with Tony Romo and Serena Williams?
It was okay. I was taken by how many commercials Serena was in. I dig Serena Williams.
I love Serena Williams.
So I thought it was cool the amount of commercials
Yeah.
she was in.
That one was kind of controversial at the party because I think people wanted to like it,
Right.
but then there was a little bit, it was a little off and it felt kind of slipshod. It felt like it was thrown together. At the
Right.
last minute, they got some huge names, Serena Williams, Tony Romo. Okay, and you're making the Caddyshack, but it didn't work. It didn't feel
Right.
very polished. Also, until I saw Tony Romo in the Gilligan's hat, right? The Bill Murray hat from Caddyshack, I didn't realize that. Okay, I don't know how to say this without sounding super mean. He has a really great ability to have a super dopey face. Do you know what I mean? Like, didn't he look super dopey? With the hat, I thought this works.
Right.
Like, so you could put that hat
Totally.
on Tom Brady and it would look off. It would look, he would never wear that
But
hat.
Tony Romo's able to pull it off.
Tony Romo looks like he has that hat.
Yeah, see, she's
Yeah.
an anti-Cowboys fan there. To you Cowboy fans, she's out there picking on Cowboys. Hey, did you see this in the commercials for the movies? Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman.
And he's 87 years old.
I'm Batman. That was the one line. And when he said it, I looked up and I was like, that's Michael Keaton. He's got to be, what, 65, 70 years old? He's playing Batman?
Yeah.
Whatever.
What's your favorite Batman? Like, of all the Batmans?
Him. Because I
Okay.
only saw that one, the one with he and
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Well, no, Jack Nicholson was the Joker,
Oh.
and Prince did the music.
That
Gentlemen,
seems-
let's broaden our mind.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I loved it.
That's pretty good. We have more texts coming in. You can join the show, 314-436-7900. We have I think we have a curmudgeon in the 314.
Ooh.
The Blues.
Hancock's texting in.
I know, it must be John Hancock. The Blues need to stop this nonsense with the Chiefs being our football team. So many bandwagon fans. Let's wait and see how much Chiefs gear we see around St. Louis in 5 years when the Chiefs are bad again.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It seems like everybody's for the Chiefs. I don't have a problem with it. But for the St. Louis Blues, the St. Louis Blues play a couple of games over in Kansas City. They kind of adopted the Blues as their team, so we've adopted the Chiefs. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm all for it. Another one from the 314. Why isn't anyone talking about Kyle Busch tearing up the M&M poster to start the commercial?
I don't know who Kyle Busch is. Do you?
The NASCAR driver.
Oh, okay.
I think I missed that commercial.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yet again another
Yeah.
demographic.
We also have some people who'd like to help you out, Michael.
Oh boy.
There are 3 other nearby Trader Joe's locations, not just the Brentwood one that is Dante's 7th Circle of Hell, but there's a Trader Joe's in Chesterfield,
Right.
in Clarkson and Baxter, in Creve Coeur, and in De Pere.
So what do they just have, like niche shopping? So it's not like all of the groceries, but it's like good stuff like pre-made like I had, which we had these
They have a great produce
crack-covered
section. Yeah.
strawberries.
Yeah, the crack-covered strawberries. They have a great produce section, nuts and fruits and breads, a lot of snacks prepared foods, frozen foods. You can get most of your shopping there. Milk, coffee, wine.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, go on
maybe
and
I'll
on.
have to swing in there sometime.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Back with another hour of the show on KMOX.
They've always been so kind.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 7.99% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 7.99% APR to 23.99% APR and include a 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Love is in the air.
It's a brand new day.
Birds are singing duets together.
And squirrels are chasing each other across the treetops.
Everyone has a twinkle in their eye.
Boom, chicka-boom.
Don't let junk get in the way.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
And you'll be back to your old self again.
We've got magic in our fingertips.
And that's why everyone starts dancing.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
When you have an electrical emergency, call Reinhold Electric right away. They answer their phone 24 hours a day to make sure they can get your power on and stay on as quickly as possible. If you are planning some changes, maybe you're doing a remodel or maybe building brand new, Reinhold Electric works with residential, commercial, and industrial. Having a small electrical issue with your house or maybe your electric panel, call on Reinhold Electric to come inspect it. Their number 314-631-1158, online at reinholdelectric.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Save big on American-made furniture during Miller Furniture's half-price sale, going on now through February 21st.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. Take advantage of our biggest sale of the year and get half off on all in stock and select custom order furniture.
Come shop the largest selection of solid wood Amish-made furniture and the best variety of flex steel furniture in the St. Louis area.
Plus, get the best night's sleep ever and save 25% on Chatham & Wells mattresses, or take advantage of 0% financing for 48 months on Tempur-Pedic.
The furniture sale of the year is happening now. Visit any of our 3 locations in Belleville, Lake St. Louis, or Ellisville on Manchester Road and save on over $4 million of inventory.
Hurry in. This sale ends on February 21st. You'll save half off our list price on everything in stock, including heirloom quality Amish-made bedrooms and dining rooms.
Save on in-stock and select custom orders today. Don't miss the half-price sale at Miller Furniture, your American-made furniture headquarters on both sides of the river.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got sun and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, a U.S. fighter jet shot down another unidentified object Sunday on orders from President Biden. It was the fourth such downing in 8 days. The object splashed down into Lake Huron. Representative Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan.
They wanted to shoot it down over water. They shot it down over water, and they're trying to collect the gear.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg warns the alliance's ammunition stock is running low because of Russia's war on Ukraine.
The current rate of Ukraine's ammunition expenditure is many times higher than our current rate of production.
Stoltenberg urges Ukraine's Western allies to ramp up their military support in the face of a new Moscow military push.
The Russians are willing to send in those forces and take a high number of casualties. So for me, this just highlights the importance of timing. It's urgent to provide Ukraine with more weapons.
Stoltenberg adds NATO sees no sign whatsoever that President Putin is preparing for peace. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A mass protest today against Israel's new government. CBS News correspondent Robert Berger reports from Jerusalem.
Tens of thousands of Israelis gathered outside Parliament here in Jerusalem to protest the government's plan to overhaul the judicial system. They say the plan will weaken the Supreme Court and destroy Israel's democracy. It's also seen as a conflict of interest for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is on trial for corruption. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Negotiations between St. Louis City and the police union are ongoing, says business manager Joe Steiger. He tells 97.1 that an upcoming bump in pay for St. Louis County really demonstrates the discrepancy in pay.
The St. Louis County will top out at 15 years at $83,500, where St. Louis City is under $70,000, and that takes 30 years to get to that point. So you're talking about a $13,500 difference. That's a big change. I don't know how you can compete with that.
Steiger says negotiations are, quote, not going great between the union and the city. The Festus Fire Department says they're looking at increasing staff, which means they'll have to pay for it somehow. Does that mean a ballot issue in the future? Chief Jeff Broombaugh.
It would be way too early to say that.
First, the chief says he's putting a long-term plan together with the hopes of hiring additional firefighters and adding some volunteer help.
We want to take a team approach. So as we do this, we'll involve everybody from the senior firefighters to even our new firefighters to see where we're at, what our needs, our wants,
Broombaugh came out of retirement 3 months ago to become the Festus chief. Previously, he was the chief at Rock Community. The KMOX Business Desk. If you love Mission Taco Joints tortilla chips, you can get them without going to the restaurant. Chips are now available at Straub's Markets and the Annex in Webster Groves. The chips are made fresh at the company's Tortilleria in Kirkwood with corn from Farmersville, Illinois. The Dow from Stifel is up 288, just updated 294 points to 34,163. We've got a stall 70 west at Jennings Station in the right lane, 44 east at Lewis Road on the right shoulder, and 70 east at Salisbury on the right shoulder.
KMOX AccuWeather, sunny, nice, up within a few degrees of 60 this afternoon, low 40s tonight, rain, even a rumble, and especially in the afternoon tomorrow. We'll be in the mid-upper 50s, and then we'll shoot to near 70 with some sun and a breeze Wednesday, then turning sharply colder Thursday into Friday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Justine DeVore in the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
54 in Florissant, 53 in St. Peters, and 55 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip.
Amy Mark Scores and Michael Kelly on the show. Mr. Kelly sitting in for Chris Ranji.
Hey there. So much fun to be with you.
Hey, I appreciate it. I've got a text I would like to get your thoughts on.
Oh, boy.
Okay, 314-436-7900. You can call or text the show. This one is a 636, and I'm not sure where this person stands. The worst negative or the biggest negative about Missouri? Question mark. And then he lists it, or she lists it. Hawley, Schmidt, Medicaid expansion, puppy mill legislation, guns, etc. Is that...
Well, I mean, the fact that they don't like Hawley and Schmidt, you would think they would be liberal, but then they don't like the Medicaid expansion.
Puppy mill legislation.
Puppy mill legislation, yeah.
And guns.
Huh. Well, I'm with them on the guns. But who knows?
Maybe it's an out-of-the-box thinker.
Yeah.
Maybe this person just hates Missouri.
well, that's unfortunate. Come on, this is our state that we've all chosen to live in, unless you're on the east side over in Illinois.
You know what?
You're in God's country.
I am so grateful to live in Missouri, and I want to say this the right way. Here's the thing. During the pandemic,
right,
I thought St. Louis and the state of Missouri had a pretty nice balance when it came to taking precautions. At least in St. Louis, a lot of people wore masks, but the parks were still open. I had friends in California. It was very difficult to live in California during all of the lockdowns.
Right.
And for a long time after a lot of the lockdowns were lifted, and have friends who lived in New York who felt like they were in prison.
Right.
So we can complain a lot about Missouri and it being backwards, but man, I was glad I was here in 2020.
I think we get a little mixture of the extremes because
Yeah.
I spent a little time during COVID down in Florida. COVID didn't exist in Florida. At least that's what people thought.
Yeah.
There were no masks anywhere. Restaurants and everything was exactly the same. So I think because we have the ultra-liberal St. Louis and Kansas City and the ultra-conservative rural Missouri, maybe we got a fair mix.
Yeah, I think so. All right. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Representative Jim Jordan from Ohio, he caused a kerfuffle on social media a few days ago after he called out Democrats in Washington, D.C. as ridiculous because they voted on a decision allowing non-citizens the opportunity to vote in local elections. Jordan tweeted, quote, "Only Americans should vote in American elections." And if you're wondering why that's controversial, because it kind of sounds, well, obviously, if it's an
Right.
American election, well, there in New York and Washington, D.C., there are more and more local measures being passed that would allow non-citizens in those respective cities to vote in municipal elections. So, for instance, New York City Mayor, this was last year, enacted a measure almost exactly a year ago that would allow more than 800,000 non-citizens in the city to vote in local elections. They just have to be a lawful permanent resident in the city for more than 30 days.
So that's the key there, right? Permanent resident. And of course, on the coasts in California, Washington State, and New York, you're going to have people who are coming with skill sets that maybe from India, from China, from Europe, and from around the country who become permanent residents. I mean, they're paying, if there's a local income tax, they're paying it. If there's local taxes, they're paying it. I don't have a problem with local issues with them including particularly permanent residents because we have some of them here in St. Louis. You know, your decisions, your livelihood is based on what is happening in your own community. I don't think they ought to be able to vote in statewide or federal elections because if you want to do that, become a United States citizen rather than a permanent green card citizen.
Now,
Citizen's wrong word, but you know what I meant.
Right. Now, some of these bills, for instance, Texas Republican Representative August Pfluger, he denounced the development in this. And he said, if you're in the United States illegally, you shouldn't have the right to vote. So the New York law, it said lawful permanent residence in the city for more than 30 days, although some of these other laws, it's at least by Republicans, are saying illegal migrants would have the right to vote in local elections.
Right. But I mean, if you go to San Francisco, you go to Seattle, Amy, there are these folks. They've gotten these visas to be able to work in America, mainly to fill jobs, but we don't have people that able to do it. They're paying the same taxes as the rest of us, particularly from a local perspective. Why shouldn't they have a say in what's going on? I mean, they shouldn't be able to pick the governor of New York or California or Missouri. They surely shouldn't be able to vote in federal elections. If you want to do that, become a citizen. But I think this is just a boogeyman argument to kind of get people stirred up that there's illegals voting in elections. I mean, all the voter fraud, Donald Trump, the case came out this weekend from his own lawyer saying no voter fraud. It didn't exist. You know, what's wrong with these people having a voice in their most local parts of their life? And they live here. I mean, it's not like they fly home on the weekends back to India. No, these folks are American. You know, for all intents and purposes, Americans, other than they don't have their citizenship.
And that's what, again, under the New York law, again, it stresses legal non-Americans would be able to vote for a number of elected positions, including mayor, comptroller, public advocate, borough president, and council member. I feel a bit reluctant. Again, I'm like, well, if these are American elections, you should be an American citizen to vote. I could listen to an argument for local elections. Like I said, I would be opening to listening to the arguments because I know that I don't know everything when it comes to these issues. My initial gut reaction is you need to be an American citizen. You just do. The laws that would potentially open up voting to illegal migrants, that I would be against.
Yeah, but there's none of that here. But here's a scenario for you. Imagine somebody who's working at Bayer. They get relocated from Bayer. Bayer's a German company, right, or a Danish company that's now, you know, it's got the North American headquarters here. They get transferred here. They're a permanent resident, right? But they're legally here. Their kids maybe go to a particular school district. Those families should have a say in what goes on in that school district, shouldn't they? Or if there's going to be a local income tax. I mean, these aren't people, remember, they're here legally. They may live decades upon decades here. They're paying taxes and acting just the same way that you and I are. I'm not suggesting they should vote for the Senate or for Congress people or even the governor, but on stuff that their own kids, their own school district is involved in, or maybe they live in one of these small municipalities in St. Louis County, they shouldn't get to vote on who their alderman is to decide how they're going to do the sidewalks.
And I think that's the argument for it, is that if you're living here, paying taxes, kids are going to schools, a big part of the formation of the United States was taxation without representation.
Right.
And that's the argument here, is that they're saying, well, as you mentioned, they're living their lives here, and for practical purposes are functioning as American citizens. They should be able to vote. For some reason, I'm hesitant. I think I would just need to make a chart of the pros and cons. But
do you think you're bought into the? I mean, they're trying to make this all about illegal immigration, and that's what they're saying. Oh, well, these illegals are going to get. Well, they wouldn't be able to vote in federal and state elections anyway.
Yeah,
they're talking about local elections. No, the laws say they have to be lawfully, here and a permanent resident. It's just we constantly are all about demonizing each other, and I think that's what this is.
Yeah, I think it's a good conversation to have right now. I lean on the necessitating American citizenship, but again, they're paying taxes, they're living, they're functioning as citizens. We're going to take a break and come right back because we are chatting with Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS military consultant. More Objects, high altitude objects floating above the United States airspace. We send up jets and shoot them down, and it feels like nobody really knows what's going on. He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Markscores. This is the show on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Achieve your financial goals with a first-line home equity loan from First Community. Apply by February 28th and get an amazing introductory rate of 3.69% APR for the first 12 months. First Community even pays all your closing costs. $1 share deposit required. Must qualify for membership. Loan subject to credit approval. Offer does not include refinances on First Community loans. Visit firstcommunity.com for terms and conditions or call 888-642-7969. Federally insured by the NCUA. Equal housing lender. NMLS 684198.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose: to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
KMOX celebrates Black History Month, honoring Black icons.
Amanda Gorman has the distinct honor of being the youngest National Poet Laureate in U.S. history. She is the author of several publications, including The Hill We Climb, which she recited as the 2021 inaugural poet at the inauguration of President Biden and Vice President Harris. We salute Amanda Gorman.
KMOX, celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More at KMOX.com.
Connect with KMOX on air, online, 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
It is the show on Super Bowl Monday. Hope everyone is recovering accordingly. It is considered Super Sick Monday.
Yeah, lots of people call in.
Millions, almost 20 million people are expected to call in, quote, sick today.
Here's what I wish we did with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wish we played it on a Saturday, which I know breaks Sunday tradition.
Yeah.
And I wish they played it at a bit of an earlier time than they do. Now, I get it. It's trying to optimize what's the best for the entire country, but I guess that game ended like 10 o'clock last night.
Like 9:30,
so
it wasn't horrible.
Yeah, but if you're at a party now, you got to drive home.
Yeah.
And, if you can drive, you probably had a beer or two, and you're full. And I've been dragging this morning just because I was, paying attention so late last night.
Right. I would say the Saturday. Saturday is the biggest thing for sure. It would be much easier to come into work on Monday if the game were about 24 hours earlier. Meanwhile, we are efforting Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS military consultant, probably dealing with some breaking news. In the meantime, regarding our conversation just a few minutes ago about legal non-citizens voting in local elections, we're getting some texts coming in. What other country allows non-citizens to vote in their elections? From a 314. Question again, multiple, another 314. Does any other country allow this type of participation, referring to voting and the suffrage rights of non-citizens? So the U.S., in the few cities that do allow non-citizens to vote, like San Francisco, New York City, Washington, D.C. There are a few other in the EU. Those rights are limited. In Denmark, all non-nationals can vote in local elections as long as they have at least 4 years of residence. In Sweden, Finland, and Norway, which is not part of the EU, they have similar rules, but in Sweden and Norway, the residency requirement is 3 years. In Finland, it is 2 years. So there are some other countries. Spain has some contingencies for non-citizens. Austria, France, and Germany and Italy do not allow non-EU citizens to take part in local elections, although they are debating it. So it is something that
there
has
is
been
some
talked
precedent
about.
around the world. And in this transient society that we live in, I mean, think about it. Our brewery's no longer headquartered in the United States. Maybe some of those executives get transferred down there where they become a citizen. Would they want to participate in at least their local elections? I probably would.
Yeah. So again, it's an issue that's being talked about. It seems like the U.S. has slightly more lenient rules when it comes to non-citizens voting in certain cities. Meanwhile, we are going to turn our attention to Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS military consultant, who joins us now. A lot of foreign objects being shot down over U.S. airspace. I have more questions than answers after the past 8 days. Colonel McCausland, thank you for joining us.
Great pleasure to be with you.
Well, we know now that there was a Chinese spy balloon, surveillance balloon, that was shot down on February 4th. Another object was shot down February 10th over Alaska. On February 11th, an F-22 downed another object over Canada's Yukon Territory. And then yesterday, Biden ordered an F-16 to shoot down yet another aerial object over Lake Huron in Michigan. What do we know, or what can we even assume so far from this sequence of events?
Well, I feel we know very little. We know an awful lot about the first object back there on February 4th, the Chinese balloon traversed across the entirety of the United States. You could see it. A lot of photographs were taken of it. Chinese admitted it was theirs. They said they regretted all that. We know that this particular incident resulted in the cancellation of a very important trip by Secretary of State Blinken to China. And we know that it was conducting surveillance just based on what you could see in terms of antennas, and the Pentagon admitted that it was doing transmissions, which they then sought to block. So that was clearly that. These last three objects we know very little about so far. So far, to the best of my knowledge, the Pentagon has yet to say if all these objects were balloons, were some of them balloons, some drones, unknown. We know they were a lot smaller objects. We know they were not steerable, but the Chinese initial balloon certainly was. And there's been no statement that I've seen so far trying to identify the origin, what particular country, organization, or whatever was responsible for these objects coming towards the United States, or were there frankly multiple people involved in origins of these separate particular objects. All of them shot down. We know that recovery operations are ongoing off the northern coast of Alaska, in the Yukon by the Canadians, and now in Lake Huron to retrieve debris. And I would imagine that once we retrieve that debris, we'll get a heck of a lot better idea of who's responsible for originating these things and what they were all about.
Colonel, is there any precedent to these balloons being launched around the world? And it just seems like suddenly we're seeing these everywhere. Is it unique to the United States, or is it happening everywhere?
Well, there's some suggestion the Chinese have now begun using these very broadly. In their military writings, they have talked about the utility, perhaps, of balloons. And I think it boils down to that more advanced countries, United States, China, Russian Federation, et cetera, have satellites that conduct routinely imagery flights over potential adversaries' territory, eavesdropping on their signal intelligence. We know that goes on a routine basis. We know we have aircraft that flies along the general coastline of countries that conduct side-looking radar surveillance or signal intelligence. We do that over China, frankly, on a regular basis. So we know that's going on. As far as the balloons go, it seems to be what may be happening. And now I'm going back strictly to the first one, the Chinese balloon, that we have sort of a gap. And the Air Force is calling this, or NORAD is calling this, a domain awareness gap. Our Doppler radars, manned by NORAD, scan the skies, but they're really looking at high altitude because the incoming of a missile would be along a ballistic trajectory. It would be a fast-moving object. It would be metallic, okay? A balloon coming in at about 60,000 feet is above what we would think bombers or fighters would come in, also fast-moving, also metallic, which Doppler radars can pick up much more easily. Non-metallic, largely, to a degree at least. And number two, moving very slowly. So actually, even though this thing is really big, I'm told by radar experts, it's harder to pick up. So perhaps the Chinese playing around with this have thought this may be an opportunity for us to use that particular gap for expanded surveillance operations. But I want to stress that really only explains that first balloon. These last three, I think, are still largely a mystery.
And that first balloon it's around 60,000 feet. The other two objects were about 40,000 feet. And then this fourth one on Sunday was 20,000 feet. Is there any significance to the lower altitude?
Sure. The Chinese balloon at 60,000 feet would be well above where you would see commercial or civilian aircraft. Commercial airline you might fly on probably tops out at maybe 50,000, more likely not below 50,000 if you're flying anywhere internationally or here in the United States. The same for civilian aircraft. So it's less of a threat to any kind of problem there. You talk about 40,000 feet like a couple of these, 20,000 feet like the one over Lake Huron, then there is the possibility, depending on where they're flying, that they could pose a threat, frankly, to commercial or civilian air traffic, and that's a point of concern. And I think one of the reasons why the White House, and also in the case of the one of the Yukon, the concurrence of the Canadians, shot these lower-level objects down.
Just on principle, with the first balloon, we know it was from China. I don't have a military mindset, and I know I'm probably missing a lot of aspects here, but on principle, it felt wrong to allow a geopolitical adversary to float an object across our airspace, even if it were a pink balloon that says we love you and it were completely harmless. It feels like a violation that we shouldn't allow.
No, it's a violation of our sovereignty. There's no two ways about it. And if you fly a pink one over, then the next one may be a lot more dangerous to you. So no, there's no two ways about it. This is a very serious incident, and I think people in Washington are taking it so. But I also think we need to, frankly, sit back and quit arguing amongst ourselves about whether it was wiser to shoot it off the coast of South Carolina or shoot it down over the skies of Montana, and step back and remember something that former Secretary of Defense Bob Gates used to say, which was the three words in Washington that are most infrequently said are, and then what? Okay, we've done this. We canceled the trip by Blinken to China, and then what? Relations between the United States and China, the two largest superpowers on the planet Earth, economically, militarily, etc., have now got the worst relations they've probably had since the Korean War. Now, we either got to figure out some way to set up discussions with the Chinese to find a way to reduce tensions, or we're going to see ourselves moving more and more into greater and greater possibility of confrontation.
Little curiosity here, Colonel. Yesterday on Twitter saw that they closed the airspace over Michigan and Illinois for military purposes. Does that happen often? And then with that, do we have military planes that are constantly looking for stuff like this flying over the United States?
Well, the first thing I don't know, but I don't really think we've, in the past at least, canceled air traffic because of a military event. We may see more of that as we're scanning these skies, as I said, at lower altitude. But we don't have aircraft up, on a regular basis flying 24/7, except over certain type of events or locations. There are aircraft that are either over Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, or ready scramble to go over the capital, obviously, certainly since 9/11. I would imagine, frankly, that last night when the Super Bowl was going on in Phoenix with all the people and the drama of all those people and millions of people watching on TV, that there were Air Force aircraft either aloft or at the ready, just in case somebody, terrorists or whatever, should decide to use this mammoth event, to do something untoward.
Are you have any issue with the White House or the Department of Defense not really giving a lot of information on these balloons that happened previously, that we know were in our airspace previously, until basically the very visible balloon from China forced them to address what the American public could see with their own eyes?
Yeah, I have to say, I basically agree with what the White House has done in terms of decisions, waiting until it was over water, shooting it down, then blinding it, which they claim they have done, et cetera, et cetera. I think that was handled pretty well. I think what you point to, the whole messaging part of this, frankly, has not been done very well at all. And the White House has, I think, been exposed by the virtue of the fact people could see it before they actually then, in fact, talked about it. I think after we've now shot down these 3 subsequent objects, there's got to be dramatic pressure growing on the Biden administration to be more forthcoming and come up with a real explanation on what in the heck is going on, because obviously the American people really want to know. And I would hope in the next few days, as they are able to do at least a preliminary examination of the wreckage and debris, that we'll hear something that talks about who launched these things and what were they all about.
Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS military consultant, we really appreciate your time and expertise today.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Michael Kelly, Amy Mark Scores on the show. We'll be back with Matt Pauley live from Jupiter, where pitchers and catchers report this week.
Weeknights at 6, it's the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Welcome into the program. My name is Matt Pauley.
Matt gets you inside the world of sports. Cardinals, Chiefs, Pelicans. You'll get it all and much more.
Special edition of Sports Open Line. We are live at Winter Warm-Up.
Matt brings you sports insight, special guests, and player interviews.
Very happy to welcome on to the program Cardinals outfitter Tyler O'Neill.
The Graybar Sports Open Line. You don't want to miss it. Weeknights at 6 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Marilyn Facer recommends 3-day kitchen and bath.
Working with Dave was an absolute delight. Once everything was scheduled, everything went perfect.
Have you ever had a remodel done before?
About 25 years ago, and it was a nightmare.
Was 3-day kitchen and bath on time?
There was no delays. Everything was on time. All the deadlines were met. Everything came at once.
Would you recommend 3-day kitchen and bath to your friends and neighbors?
I highly recommend them to anybody.
Top quality products and craftsmanship in 3 days or less. Call 3-day kitchen and bath. Always on time as promised, at the price promised, and your job comes with complete satisfaction guarantee. No ifs, ands, or buts. Visit their website at 3daykitchen.com. That's 3daykitchen.com.
3-day kitchen and bath.
At 11:30, it's sunny and 56 degrees downtown at the Arch. The U.S. Jets have downed 4 objects in 8 days. The head of NORAD and U.S. Northern Command says part of the reason for the repeated shootdowns of aerial objects is a heightened alert following the spy balloon from China that emerged over U.S. airspace in late January. Rihanna is pregnant with her second child. A representative for the pop superstar confirmed the pregnancy soon after Rihanna wrapped an epic Super Bowl halftime performance. Coming up next Tuesday, February 21st, Katie's Pizza and Pasta will donate 100% of profits to Stray Rescue of St. Louis. The money from the Give Back Tuesday will be put into a fund reserved for the medical expenses the nonprofit encounters each year. And traffic-wise, we've got a stalled vehicle, 44 East at Big Bend. The left shoulder is blocked. A stall 141 South at Interstate 70 on the right shoulder. And the forecast, sunny and nice this afternoon, high within a few degrees of 60 tonight. The low 41 degrees. For tomorrow, periods of rain, even a thunderstorm, mostly in the afternoon with a high of 54 to 58 degrees. Sponsored by MERS Goodwill. Donate your vehicle today to MERS Goodwill and get 4 field box tickets to a 2023 Cardinals game. It's easy and towing is free. Donate online at mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals. Give hope, give local, give goodwill. It's 56 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Park Provence, an assisted living and skilled nursing memory care community, understands the challenges when caring for a loved one with dementia or other forms of memory loss. You're not alone. Park Provence is a trusted expert in memory care and recently recognized as a best memory care community by U.S. News and World Reports. Call 314-452-5200 or to learn more, parkprovence.com. That's PARCProvence.com.
Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength of the issuing insurer.
With proposed new taxes, market volatility, inflation, and rising healthcare costs, how secure is your retirement? Now you can help safeguard your retirement. A 401k law that unlocks an ingenious strategy could protect your retirement funds from inflation and a stock market downturn, while boosting your retirement income as much as 40%. It's all laid out in a new book, Guarantee Your Retirement, from JDM Financial, and it's yours free. This insightful guide can be a roadmap to using annuities so you can retire with more confidence, and includes the top 7 strategies for safely navigating the threat of inflation and market volatility. Don't risk losing some of what you've spent a lifetime earning or having to downsize your retirement. For your free copy of Guarantee Your Retirement by JDM Financial, call now. Call 800-381-1212. That's 800-381-1212. 800-381-1212.
Hi, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinals spring training. Stay up to date with my reports from Redbirds camp, mornings and afternoons, and Sports Open Line weeknights from the TR Hughes Homes Broadcast Center.
Spring training coverage, sponsored in part by Wilkie Window and Door, on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
And we welcome into the show KMOX Powder Keg and sports fella Matt Pauley, always ready to get into an altercation, always ready to stand up for his wife in the aisles of Walmart. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
He sounds so nice and docile.
Yeah, but apparently he'll go to fisticuffs at Walmart if necessary.
He will.
Whatever it takes.
I tell stories. They come back to haunt me. What can I say?
So Paulie, you're down in Jupiter, aren't you, brother?
I am in the palatial KMOX Sports studio right now that we have right across from the Cardinals complex.
And there's a big announcement. The Cardinals announced this morning that they're going to be doing a huge expansion and signing a long-term agreement to stay there in Jupiter and Abacoa.
Yeah, this is as technology moves forward in baseball, and as just the ability to do different things kind of moves forward, you have to keep up with the times, and that's what they're doing. You know, they want to redo the pitching lab. I know they want to do some other things from an aesthetic standpoint. There's a lot that it's going to be a pretty extensive project. I think it's good for both the fans, but it's also good from a baseball side because it lets them to kind of reestablish the way they have things set up down here.
What does that mean for fans? What does it mean for next year's spring training?
Yeah, I'm not totally aware of all the details. I think that's still being put together. This is something that they want to work on as soon as things get done for this year spring training. I think things are going to be better. That's the bottom line. That there's going to be improvements. I mean, this complex is nice. This is my first time, being down here, having been, this is my first time covering the Cardinals spring training. But yeah, look, it's as ballparks get older, it's time to make some changes and update them. And I think that's what's going to be going on.
Pitchers and catchers officially report this week, but a lot of the guys have already been there for a while, right?
Yeah, so the way there's multiple report dates this year because of the WBC. So today was the first report date. Pitchers and catchers who are participating in the WBC had to report today. Just a little while ago, I've got some of this video up on my Twitter account at Matt Pauley on air if people want to see it, or on the KMOX Sports Twitter accounts. Retweeted it. Adam Wainwright threw a bullpen session this morning. We saw Jack Flaherty throw a bullpen session this morning. They're going through some other workouts. So all the guys who are going to be participating in the WBC, they are here. And then over the next week or so, next Monday will be officially the first full squad workout. I'd be surprised if anybody is showing up for a first time next Monday. Guys are really already here for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Derek Gould tweeted out a great picture of the Cardinals' new battery. Jack Flaherty is throwing to Wilson Contreras. It's moments like that are pretty exciting and have fans looking forward to what they're going to see this 2023 season.
Well, you're mentioning the wrong tweet, because I've got a tweet up of Jack Flaherty throwing to Wilson Contreras. I've got the actual video there, Amy.
Oh my gosh!
Let's don't be pushing Gould stuff when I'm here on KMOX's dime. Come on.
Okay,
yes.
Matt Pauley on air. At Matt Pauley on. I'm going to blame Elon Musk And the new algorithm, I think he's set the Twitter algorithm to be biased against you.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm just saying that's why I
pretty
didn't see
tough.
it.
Okay. Well, you know what? A lot of people have seen my tweets today. Lots of interaction. So maybe there's
not
just
helping.
something about you. Amy.
Matt, what's up? Why do pitchers and catchers have to show up earlier than everybody else?
Look at you trying to save Amy.
You're
such a
doggone right I
gentleman.
am. I'm a good partner. I'm a good wingman, brother.
Chivalry is not dead. As Matt's like, no, Amy, you're ignoring me.
Because pitchers it takes pitchers a little bit longer. They need to be stretched out. Hitters can be ready in like maybe a week, maybe less than a week. There's going to be guys who have been hitting all off season long, and they're going to walk into spring training and they're just going to be ready. For pitchers, you have to train the arm. You have to go through all that. So it just takes pitchers a little bit longer, and pitchers have to have somebody to throw to. So that's why catchers report as well.
And we saw Adam Wainwright in a couple of those photos that somebody tweeted. I'm not going to put them to somebody, but Adam Wainwright's already there throwing. The old man's showing up to show us what he's still got.
He was the first one on the bullpen mound today. And in some ways, I just think that's kind of, symbolic of this year's spring training, where this is going to be his final spring with the Cardinals, and this is his final major league season. And he's in many ways the face of the organization for so long, especially now that Yadier Molina has moved on. And at least from a pitching standpoint, obviously you look at Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. But yeah, it was fun for those first pitches of the day with camp officially opening today to be thrown by Adam Wainwright. Don't ask me how he looked fine, but don't ask me how he looked, because it's February 13th and it's a guy thrown off the mound.
So what's the vibe in Jupiter? I know it's early. Is it a slow roll into spring training, or does everybody show up eager to go with a lot of intensity?
I think everybody's pretty excited. The other side of this is you got to remember this is the first normal spring training in a really long time, because last year there was the collective bargaining agreement and the labor issues, and then they got that done, and they essentially did a full spring training in 3 weeks, a month, and all. They just got here at the very last moment, so everything was very rushed. Everything was hurried. There was nothing normal about last year's spring training, and then obviously COVID the years prior to that. So that was something that John Mozeliak mentioned. He spoke with the media earlier today, and he said that it feels normal. It feels like what it used to feel like pre-pandemic, and I think that's a good thing for everybody involved.
Matt, did you watch the Super Bowl down in Jupiter?
I did.
Great. It was nice talking to you. Do you have
this is radio, right?
Good to know. I'm glad. I'm just checking a box now. That was actually
I
from our
wasn't sure
boss.
which direction you wanted to go. If you want me to just riff on the Super Bowl, I certainly can. I didn't know if there was something specific. My thought has always been that you don't bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid together. And if you continually go with those two, you're going to be right more often than you're wrong. So I looked at last night's game, and I thought the Philadelphia Eagles roster was better, was deeper, was more talented. But I looked at the Chiefs, and I saw Patrick Mahomes, and I saw Andy Reid, and I always thought the Chiefs were going to win that game. And lo and behold, second half, they're able to do what they tend to do. I mean, Mahomes has so many second half double-digit comebacks in his career. He's already one of the NFL all-time leaders in that category. It's just so much fun to watch the Chiefs.
Well, let me carry the water to the Philly fans here. Was that really a holding call?
Yes, and it was a holding, but the problem was the TV broadcast did not do a very good job of showing when the hold was. The hold wasn't towards the end. The hold was very early in the play. So, and there's a lot of Eagles fans out there that are giving a lot of credit to the referees for the Chiefs winning. Think about the two replays that each went against Kansas City that were really close 50-50 calls. So I think when you look at that game, you see the 3 50-50 type calls, that hold, and then those two replays. The two replays each go against Kansas City. The holding call goes for Kansas City, but it's not like the officials were out there just making up calls for the Chiefs.
Speaking of Andy Reid, Dave Jorgensen of the Washington Post, he's the face of the TikTok account for the Washington Post. A bit random, but he had a great tweet last night. He said, well, if there's one thing Andy Reid is good at, it's making sure the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl, which is pretty good. That's a pretty funny tweet.
What did Derek Gould tweet about the Eagles?
Zing.
Oh my gosh.
Woo, Paulie. Oh, well, it's a little later in the afternoon there. He may have already gone out and had a
Matt's
little
got
drink or
me.
something
He's
there. That's
got
some good
me.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm cornered. I can't recover from this.
Yeah, so this is your first spring training down there in Jupiter. What are you up to? You going to the beach later today, Paulie? What are you doing?
It's a pretty busy day. Early morning here at the ballpark, and we'll have Sports Open Line tonight following the Billikens Coaches Show and Total Information PM. We've got all the audio from Marmol and Mozeliak that I'm going to be going through. So as much as I would love to say that I'll be going to the beach and enjoying myself, there's not a whole lot of time for that, unfortunately.
Well, we'll be following your Twitter account and making sure that we keep up on that while you do that, your intrepid reporting down in Jupiter.
Yeah, what a tough assignment.
I know. He is Matt Pauly, the KMOX powder keg. I'm glad he's in a different state right now. I mean, there could be an altercation coming out of Studio B. But, Matt, we love you. Keep doing the great work down there. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. See you guys.
Yep. Matt Pauly, at Matt Pauly on air, folks. If you don't want to miss great tweets like the video of Jack Flaherty throwing to new Cardinals catcher Wilson Contreras.
All right, so here's a little behind the scenes because I've actually been to our studio down there.
Yeah.
It's in an office building across the street. It's not that great. We have to share it with all the other sports writers and other folks out there. Poor Paulie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hard. And then he's going to go out and have a fabulous meal somewhere tonight. Then he's going to get back on the radio and talk to us good people here in St. Louis. I want this assignment. I need to become a part of sports. Although I don't even know who our third baseman is. Well, I do know who our third baseman is.
Good.
I don't know who our left fielder is.
Well,
Do you?
I don't know right now. Do they know?
Who knows?
So don't. Everybody's calling me out today between you and Matt Pauly.
I'm not calling you. I'm the one who's admitting I'm a season ticket holder and I don't know who our left fielder is.
But you do know the quote palatial studio that he's in. I can see him on our video stream, and it looks like he's in a broom closet.
The first time Hancock and I went down there and broadcasted Charlie's show, this was before you.
Yeah.
We were in a trailer out in the right field, right over the right field fence. So we were broadcasting what they're doing batting practice, and it sounded like all of a sudden you hear it was baseballs just slamming the outside of this trailer while Hancock and I are in there. And I'm like, really? This is the palatial studios of KMOX? Awesome. Meanwhile, Rooney and Shannon are sitting up there in the air conditioning. And
I love it. It's the ambiance. Well, Michael Kelly, in the 12 o'clock hour, we will recap our show as we always do. We'll chat the big topics. But here's the thing. What's getting listeners riled up, I can tell you right now,
is that I think that people ought to be able to vote even if they
It's the voting rights of non-citizens and balloons. The text line is exploding with your text, the listeners, about the balloons floating over our airspace, as well as extending voting rights to non-citizens. If you want to get in that conversation, we are going to get to your texts in the 12 o'clock hour, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. But next, there is a restaurant in New Jersey that is banning kids. It's banning kids. And I don't know if you think it would drive up or drive down reservations, but we'll get to that next.
We all know the answer to that.
On the show, Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Hey, it's Annie. Are you a real estate agent wondering how the upcoming season will be? How you can be even more competitive and create new business? This is Annie Fry, and I need to talk to you about an event coming up that you will not want to miss. Sponsored by my friend Stewie of Stewart's American Mortgage. A State of the Industry event is going to take place on February 22nd at the Renaissance Hotel from 1 to 3. You're going to get to hear industry experts from all aspects of the housing industry. Seating is filling up and limited, so reserve your spot today. Google the Bagel Loan or call 314-324-4440.
Declare financial freedom from car payments in 3 easy steps. 1. Visit St. Charles Hyundai during our amazing Payment Freedom event. 2. Choose your favorite new ride. 3. Drive payment free until summer 2023. That's right, make no payments until summer 2023 at St. Charles Hyundai, the #1 volume Hyundai dealership since 2015 in the Metro St. Louis area. St. Charles Hyundai, located a quarter-mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off I-70, online at stcharleshyundai.com. Interest, if any, accrues during the deferral period, expires 2/28/23.
Chris Ranji
Wonderful bones, great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
on the show.
And welcome back to the show with Amy Markscourse and Chris Ranji. Chris isn't here. It's me, Michael Kelly. I'm just by your text. I bet you're thrilled. By the way, you can get in on our text conversation, 314-436-7900. But Amy, you were talking about a restaurant in New Jersey that's banning kids. And I think the question you asked is, what do you think's happening in the business? I bet it's going through the roof.
Well, here's what's happened. Nettie's House of Spaghetti in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, they are now banning kids 10 and under. Here's how they put it on their social media page. We love kids. We really, truly do. But lately, it's been extremely challenging to accommodate children at Nettie's. Between noise levels, lack of space for high chairs, cleaning up crazy messes, and the liability of kids running around the restaurant, we have decided that it's time to take control of the situation. This wasn't a decision that was made lightly, but some recent events have pushed us to implement this new policy. As of March 8th, the day we return from our winter break, we will no longer allow children under 10 to dine in the restaurant. We know that this is going to make some of you very upset, especially those of you with very well-behaved kids, but we believe this is the right decision for our business moving forward. Thank you for understanding. Now, they're not the first restaurant to do this. There was a restaurant in North Carolina, Caruso's, an upscale Italian restaurant, that banned kids. And there were a lot of people who were upset. And they were outraged. They got on social media. But guess what? Customers loved it. And reservations exploded. The same thing happened with another restaurant that banned loud kids.
Kids?
Which seems specific. I almost feel like you have to ban kids.
Well, I don't know how you feel about this. So part of me as a grown adult who, goes out and eats out probably more than I eat in, I kind of like the concept. Having said that, as a young child, my parents took us places and it was part of the way that you taught proper behavior. I mean, we learned how to behave in a restaurant because we experienced them. If you do, you take the little terror Tommy out for the first time when he's 11 years old, how's he going to know how to sit in the restaurant and act appropriately? But at the same time, they're right, man. The little guys make some mess, etc. I don't know. Now, I would tell you this, Amy. If someone were to offer me an airplane flight that maybe, let's say for a mere $50 or $100 more, would have no kids on it, I'd be okay with that. Because inevitably, I am the guy that gets stuck with the lap child sitting in the middle seat next to me, who, is normally really well behaved, says the mother or whoever's taking care of it, and is just going to scream the entire hour and a half that we were on the airplane. I would pay extra to be on a plane that didn't have little people.
Okay, both of those are really interesting points because you're right. When it comes to consistent disruptive behavior, that seems to be more of an indictment of the parents if kids are constantly running around creating a ruckus and they're not doing anything about it. Because my heart goes out to any parent who has a toddler, a baby crying, a youngster throwing a temper tantrum. It happens. I mean, kids are awesome. They're also like little crazy people. You can't reason with them. And my mom said it's kind of a rite of passage if you're in a grocery store or at Target and your child has a meltdown, that you abandon the cart where it is, and you have one child under your arm, and you walk out with that child screaming because they have that meltdown. And my mom said, she goes, my heart always breaks for that. However, if there's a consistent pattern of parents just not caring and not expecting their children to show respect at a place like that, you're right. That does seem to be an issue with parents.
Yeah, but and so it's a conflict. I guess there's restaurants probably even here in town that don't want little kids, and I would assume the way they do that is just raise their prices to the point where you're like, oh, they don't have chicken fingers on the menu, and we're not buying them an $85 steak, so we're not taking the kids with us. But you got to have some of that social interaction. It doesn't bother me as much in a restaurant. Little kids don't bother me as much in a restaurant as they do in an airplane where I am stuck with them sitting next to me. Now, I don't know what I dislike more, the screaming kid or the person who's got their pet there to make them feel good because they're too stressed to get on an airplane, so they got to take an animal with them.
We had a texter who said, well, one way to make sure you don't have kids at a restaurant, a 618 texts and just have a kids menu with kids meals starting at $250.
Right.
And I will say, there are certain restaurants. George Mahey called them tweezer restaurants. The super fancy food.
There's a couple here in St. Louis.
I don't know. Do a lot of people bring kids to those restaurants?
Well,
anyway?
who's going to pay them for their kid to eat an $80 meal? It's just not going to happen.
So I think if you're very, very high end, I don't think you're seeing a lot of kids because they're not eating the caviar bite.
Yeah, but this was Nettie's spaghetti. This didn't sound like a white tablecloth.
It wasn't.
Guys wearing tuxedos serving you.
It wasn't cheap because I went to the menu. We were wondering how upscale is this for that area, for the East Coast, and it was a nice Italian restaurant. It was not a cheap Italian restaurant, but it wasn't high end. It was just a nice one that you could see people bringing families.
You ever been stuck on an airplane with the kid screaming next to you?
Okay. Knock on wood, I have not.
Really?
Although my friends did, and it was a 10-hour flight. Oh. And the baby cried, I think, the whole time. And you feel bad for both the parents, and the people around them.
But there's a reason that baby crying has the reaction inside of our brains because we're supposed to get there and help out.
Mm-hmm.
But for as parents, now there's just sometimes you can't do anything. The kid's just got to cry it out.
Yeah.
Inevitably, that's on the flight that I'm on, that the kid has to cry it out. And
that's tough.
It is.
It's so tough being a parent, especially if you have to take long flights to visit families.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Benadryl.
Yes or no? Oh my gosh. We do not recommend this. He's not a doctor. So yes or no, restaurants banning kids, if it's their prerogative. Do you agree?
I think if you're a restaurant owner, you get to make that decision. I probably wouldn't haunt a place that bans kids.
Yeah.
I would probably, and I don't have kids, but I wouldn't make my decision based on whether or not there's kids or not kids.
Yeah. I would probably not know until I got there.
Right.
I don't know anything. Do you scout the restaurant before you go?
No, by the way, all these millennials, that's what they do. They read the menus ahead of time. I'm like, you're taking all the fun out of going to a restaurant if you already have looked at the entire menu and know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And then what aggravates me about them, and a lot of them work with me, what's taking you so long to order? If you've spent an hour and a half already examining the menu and you know what's going on, why am I waiting on you? Let's go.
That's right. Hey, before we get to the news, we have a defender of Matt Pauley from the 314, and I think he hates me or she hates me. Not sure. Love Matt Pauley. Hilarious how jealous Helium Amy is. I guess he's saying I'm an airhead. Yeah, you know me. She has to try to insult Matt. I'll be glad when she goes back to selling shoes.
What?
Wow. Well, I hope this
person...
person...
Can we block callers?
We can, but I feel bad for this person.
Mom, quit calling in and texting that stuff. That's not sweet.
I love your mom.
I know,
this is a much sadder person. I hope your day goes better, 314. Hey, we've got another hour with Michael Kelly, Amy Mark Scores. This is the show on KMOX.
Like a shoe.
The real estate market continues making headlines for both buyers and sellers. The big dilemma for sellers like you is finding the right buyer willing to pay the right price, right? This is Debbie Monterey. And while most agents will make big promises, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will actually present you with an upfront written guarantee. It states that Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare to that? Gloria is able to make this bold offer because Gloria already has the buyers in her exclusive Buyers in Waiting program. So before you list your home, do your research and get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Gloria has solutions and options for every seller because she knows that every situation is different. Call her today and ask about Gloria's no obligation cash offer program or her guaranteed sold program. 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The voice of the Billikens, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, Sarah. I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't help that gas prices have skyrocketed. I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
Everyone's talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, real cash every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
I've made around $200 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN40 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN40 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code EARN40 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's a sunny sky, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, 5 years after Lou Fest's end, the lineup is announced for a new music festival coming to Forest Park. The inaugural Evolution Festival today announced headliners including the Black Keys, a 2023 Grammy Award nominee, Brandi Carlile, the Black Crowes, Brittany Howard of Alabama Shakes, Ice Cube, and more. There'll also be a focus on barbecue and bourbon. It'll be held August 26th and 27th near the Muni in Forest Park. Tickets go on sale this Friday. Steve Shankman, president of Contemporary Productions, joins the show live later this hour on KMOX. A safer Missouri is a stronger Missouri. That's the gist of a letter from the Missouri Chamber of Commerce to the governor and legislature. Chamber President Dan Meehan says more than 500 employers, business leaders, and individuals have signed on to it already.
If you look at violent crimes per capita or property crimes per capita, we top out in the top 5 or 10 out of all 50 states.
Meehan says crime statewide impacts safety, but also the economy. He says it's difficult to get businesses to move to Missouri or the St. Louis region when crime is the first thing you see in a Google search. He says he's not seeing much action on the issue.
Look at last year when the governor made this a priority, 30 bills were filed. 2 passed.
The chamber letter calls not just for the increasing of policing and prosecutorial transparency, but for addressing recidivism, helping those who've been incarcerated readjust and get jobs, and providing substance abuse and mental health treatment. Plenty of unanswered questions after the U.S. military acted to shoot unidentified objects out of the sky Friday, Saturday, and yesterday. It's still unclear what they were. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin says the latest objects were picked up now, but would not have been before the Chinese balloon incident.
You don't want to scramble jets every time you pick up a bird or a piece of flying trash on your radar. So they were deliberately calibrated to screen all that stuff out. But now they've changed the calibration, and they're starting to pick up these much smaller objects.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg says the new Russian push into Ukraine is likely underway, with President Putin sending thousands of more troops.
The leadership, the logistics, the equipment, the training don't have the same level as the Ukrainian forces, but they have more forces. And the Russians are willing to send in those forces and take a high number of casualties. So for me, this just highlights the importance of timing. It's urgent to provide Ukraine with more weapons.
The KMOX business desk this lunch hour looking for another celebrity meal.
Roses are red, violets are blue. The Cardi B and Offset meal is coming to a McDonald's near you starting tomorrow. McDonald's is releasing its first celebrity duo meal, which includes favorite menu items from the couple who are rap superstars. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Roads look clear. Dow from Stifel up 311 points to 34,180.
It's going to be a gorgeous sunny afternoon with a high within a few degrees of 60, low 40s tonight. Some rain and some rumbles, especially in the afternoon tomorrow. We'll still get in the mid upper 50s. Then we'll surge to almost 70 on Wednesday before things start turning colder with rain and rumbles on Thursday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sun, 57 in Florissant, 57 in St. Peter's, and 57 downtown at the Arch right now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's lunchtime on the show on KMOX. Michael Kelly sitting in for Chris Ranji. I'm Amy Mark Scores, and yesterday was Super Bowl Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. And I know we have a lot of people in the area very excited about the Chiefs' victory. I am one of them, but man, oh man, I don't know that anyone is as excited for this victory as one of the Chiefs' biggest fans, 12-year-old Gavin. He's from St. Louis. He is a huge Chiefs fan, and through Make-A-Wish, Missouri and Kansas, in partnership with the National Football League, Gavin, who is battling a nervous system disorder, got to go to the Super Bowl yesterday. And Gavin joins us now with his mother, Barbara. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And Gavin, did you have an incredible time at the Super Bowl yesterday?
Yeah, he had the best time. What was your favorite thing, Gav? Seeing them play.
That's so exciting. Barbara, who was the whole crew with Gavin? Was it you two? Did you have another group that you all went with?
So we got 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. So Gavin and his dad went together since they are the huge Chiefs fans. So they went, and then Make-A-Wish sent me and my daughter to a movie theater to watch the Super Bowl. So it was an exciting experience for all of us.
That is really exciting. Gavin, you have been a Chiefs fan your whole life. You're from St. Louis. How did you get into being a Chiefs fan?
Who did you like? The Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes. And who else?
Travis Kelce.
And Travis Kelce.
Oh, that's awesome. Barbara, have you guys been to many NFL games before this, or was this the first one?
This was his very first Chiefs game, NFL game. So I don't think we'll ever be able to top this.
That's a heck of a game to start with, your very first NFL game being the Super Bowl. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I know Y98 just down the hall, all big fans of Gavin and supporting this opportunity for him to go to the Super Bowl.
Yes, it's been amazing. We've had so much outpouring of love and support from family, friends, strangers. It's just been amazing. So many Eagle fans rooting for the Chiefs just so Gavin's team can win. It's just been absolutely amazing experience for us all.
And Barbara, in addition to the game, there was a whole weekend experience in Arizona, right?
Yes, we did all kinds of fun stuff. We had a welcome reception, and the Arizona Cardinal cheerleaders welcomed us. He met several of the players there. He played ping pong with Manny Jones and played dress up with Manny Jones, which that was probably one of his favorite things. We went to the NFL honors and saw so many different football players and took pictures. And, you know, Mahomes won MVP, which that was, I think, Gavin's favorite part of that night. And yeah, just so many different experiences. Each day was better than the next. So it's just been amazing.
That's incredible. Well, I know you guys have got to be tired after a full weekend. Gavin, we're so excited that you were able to go to the Super Bowl and cheer on your favorite team, the Chiefs. And Barbara, thank you for joining us. Get some rest after your fun weekend.
All right. Yes, we will. And go Chiefs. Woo!
Go Chiefs. Thanks, guys.
How great is that? How great is that?
That's awesome.
Little man, first football game, 12 years old, battling a nervous system disorder from St. Louis. A Chiefs fan gets to go down, spends the whole week and got to go to the NFL honors and see Mahomes get the MVP, and then being at the game last night. What a great organization Make-A-Wish is.
Yeah, absolutely. A great picture, too, of Gavin with his Chiefs jersey on. And, I mean, those are, moments that, will stay with you as a kid, as a parent for the rest of your life. And Make-A-Wish does so much great work. A good friend of mine, her daughter has dealt with illness, was born with a heart issue, has gone through so many surgeries, has spent, more time in the hospital than you and I combined by a lot, by the time she was 6 years old. And with Make-A-Wish, she got to go to Hawaii and always wanted to go to the Hawaiian Islands, and a really incredible experience for her and the family. Just, these kids have it so tough. So many of them are spending so much time in hospital beds. To have these moments to give them something to look forward to. Really great.
If you can help out Make-A-Wish, go to makeawish.com and make a contribution. Send $5 there, and they can maybe send another kid to the Super Bowl in the future from St. Louis.
Well, we've got the text lines open, and Michael, people are really eager to join in on the conversation today. That's right, at 314-436-7900. We have someone from the 618 who is standing up, taking the other side, other than the crabby texter who didn't like me very much. He said, apparently that crabby 314 texter doesn't listen to the show and know that it's a job requirement to give Matt a hard time. You go, Amy. There you go.
Exactly.
I would call him the powder keg lovingly, because he seems like the gentle giant. He's a tall guy and he's so nice.
Right.
But he will stand up for his team.
And he's
and by team, I mean like his wife.
Yeah.
or protocol the situation.
And is that Ranji vernacular where he says sports fella?
Sports fella. That's right.
Sports fella? That's what we call him?
Yeah. Also, the New Jersey restaurant that doesn't allow kids under 10, another very upscale Italian restaurant doesn't allow kids under 5, and yet another restaurant that doesn't allow noisy kids, which I wonder where the line is. Like, who's the noise judge?
Arbiter of noisy
yes,
kids.
Who determines?
You out.
Right.
Let's go out.
So we have a 636 saying, guys, noise canceling headphones, guys. Samsung Galaxy Buds do a wonderful job on a plane.
Oh, on an airplane. Yeah. No. Okay. So I have the noise canceling headphones, Aim. I don't know about you though, but I miss all the stuff that's happening around me, because when they're making their announcements, or then all of a sudden the stewardess is there talking to me, I'm in my own little world. It's not good.
Yeah. Yep. No, I get it. Also, another texter that is driving through town listening to the show on KMOX.
Hope we made a good impression.
By the way, if you're on the 40 corridor-ish, 98.7 FM, crystal clear, 11:20 a.m., the classic. Also the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app. You can listen. This texter says that he's passing through town listening to the show, wants to know if I'm related to Dave Mark Scores, because he played baseball with him. That's my dad.
Dave is your dad?
That's right.
Well, how about
So
that?
there's the
Was Dave a baseball player back
Oh
in the
yeah,
day?
Rockhurst.
Really?
It's Rockhurst College then. It's Rockhurst University now. Hence the Kansas City tie-in.
Right.
Yeah, he played college at Rockhurst University. So there you go. All right. When we come back, we've got a lot to talk about with non-citizens voting rights.
Oh.
I know it's getting people riled up as well as balloons. People are a little frustrated with the balloons flying into U.S. airspace. He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Markscores, and it's been beautiful weather yesterday, the whole weekend really, and the weather's turning, and it'll be turning soon for good. Spring and summer are almost upon us. You'll want to go to stlfenceworks.com. stlfenceworks.com. They have made deeply discounted winter buys on vinyl fencing and aluminum fencing, and they're passing on the savings to customers. We're talking pre-pandemic costs, and that means STL Fenceworks not only can get your fence put in, build your deck, beautify your outdoor space, but they can do so A, at great prices, and B, in a timely manner. Right now, they have more inventory than they've had at any other time in their 50-year history. We've been talking about supply chain issues, right? And inflation. And that seems to be the dominant story. That's not the deal at STL Fenceworks. They have all of their inventory for decks and fencing. They've got it at deeply discounted prices. You're paying pre-pandemic costs. That means you'll get the job done in a timely manner by exceptional workmen with exceptional service and a lifetime warranty that surpasses anything else in the industry. It's not surprising because STL Fenceworks is family owned and operated and locally owned and operated, as they have been for over 50 years. So check them out today at stlfenceworks.com.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 a.m. further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When children were being fatally injured by window blind cords, Honor Law took on the manufacturers to have dangerous cords banned.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9 million.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. Our goal is to bring awareness to local organizations and share how they're bettering our community. This month, Muriel Smith, Executive Director of the St. Louis Area Diaper Bank, joined Jeff Burgess, President of Busey Wealth Management, and I to discuss the need for diapers and period supplies. Listen to Building Community with Busey Bank at KMOX.com/community banking.
Trusted information, live and local. From the award-winning KMOX Newsroom.
Hey there. We're back, Amy.
We're back.
It's the show with Amy Markscores and Chris Ranji. Nick's Ranji, he's not here. Michael Kelly's sitting in.
We appreciate
it. We have blown the phone lines up today with people wanting to talk to us. We got to recap exactly what we've gotten into. Of course, we started talking about the Super Bowl and the win by the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if you know this, Amy, but we are the voice of the Chiefs in St. Louis.
We are the
right
voice
here
of
at
the
KMOX.
Chiefs in St. Louis.
That was a big win last night on a controversial call at the end of the game, I would like to point out. Was it really holding, Amy? I don't think it was holding.
So the player, I forgot his name. The player did say it was holding. Here was the issue. I thought Tom Ackerman put it succinctly. It was technically holding, but they hadn't really been calling it in the game up until that point. And it was such a critical moment in the game. I am very honest and transparent in saying that I'm biased. I was cheering for the Chiefs very, very hard. So congrats to Chiefs fans. Congrats to Mason Jar, his family, all from Kansas City.
Mason
Huge
Jar.
Chiefs fans.
That's lingo for BF, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so for those of us who are new to the show.
You're not new to the show. You've been on before.
well, you know.
We're also, people get worked up about balloons.
Yeah, no, people aren't happy that the balloons are flying across the country. Of course, last Saturday, we had the shoot down of the balloon off the coast of the Carolinas. And since then, we've had 3 or 4 more unidentified flying objects
That's
over
right.
the United States
They're not-
also getting shot down.
They're not calling it a balloon. A U.S. military commander, he said they have not yet determined how the objects, there were 4 objects, so 2, 3, and 4. We know the first one was a balloon, but he has not determined how objects 2, 3, and 4 have stayed aloft. He said there's a reason they're not calling them balloons, so more information is forthcoming, undoubtedly. But on Friday, jets shot down an unidentified object over Alaska. On Saturday, they downed another object over Canada's Yukon territory. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, had called for that to be shut down. So U.S. jets did shoot it down. And then yesterday, on February 12th, Biden ordered yet another object, this one over Lake Huron in Michigan, be shot down, and it was by an F-16.
So they're going to need to come forward soon and tell us more information than what we know. Like, what? First of all, what was in that big balloon that flew over St. Louis? And now all this other stuff. I mean, is this just going to keep happening? You know, the administration and I'm sure the Department of Defense, that we need more info, doggone it.
And Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS military consultant, he said while he agreed with the actions of the Biden administration, cautious with the first balloon, shooting down the others, he did say the messaging has left something to be desired. The White House, the Department of Defense has not been particularly clear or transparent with the American people. Also, with the other balloons, I think it's interesting to note objects 2 and 3 were 40,000 feet, which is significantly lower than the balloon, which was at 60,000 feet. And then this last one over Michigan was only at 20,000 feet. It was octagonal and it had strings coming out of it, and an F-16 shot it down. Meanwhile, the giant spy balloon, the original, that was shot down by the F-22.
Size of 3 school buses.
Yeah, that one was the F-22's first kill, I guess you would call it, first thing that it shot down. And I thought, that's the most expensive way to pop a balloon. And let's see here. We do have...
We had our conversation also about letting non-residents vote.
Yes.
Oh, or were we going to talk more balloon text?
just one texter on the balloon here. 618 says, why do we get to shoot their balloons down, but we do the same thing over their country? That's why other countries hate us. We think we are every other country's police officer. When the whole world turns on us, then maybe we'll learn a lesson.
Are we flying balloons over other countries?
Hey, listen, if everybody's doing it, I would rather that the United States be the leader than the CCP.
Well, when everybody was all stirred up the other day, I'm like, they've got satellites that sit over our country and, you know, take pictures of us all the time. But if we're flying balloons over and we don't expect them to get shot down, come on. I would think we would expect them to get shot down.
Yeah, expect them to get shot down. Here's the thing. Don't get caught. Maybe we haven't gotten caught yet. If they, if everyone's spying, the rule of the game is if you get caught, you get the consequences that come with it. So don't get caught. And as Michael mentioned, we also talked about Jim Jordan, who caused a bit of a kerfuffle when he tweeted out that only Americans should vote in American elections. And this was referring to cities like New York, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., that allow legal residents, legal non-citizen residents in those respective cities to vote. They might have a residency requirement such as 30 days, but then they can vote in municipal elections. So for comptroller, for the council, that type of thing. Again, I mean, I would listen to arguments in favor of it, but my gut reaction is American citizens, like Jim Jordan said, if an American citizen, that should be the requirement to vote in American elections, whether they are federal, state, or local.
Yeah, and I think that probably is a widely held belief here in Missouri. What people may not realize is in places like New York, California, Washington State, there are people from all over the world who get legal visas to come work in the United States, essentially become a United States citizen without being a United States citizen. They live, they pay taxes, their kids go to the schools, they live under the same laws that everybody else lives under, but they may be British or they may be Indian. And this would give them a voice only in their local elections on stuff they're directly impacted for. I don't have a problem with it. I get why everybody's all up in the arms.
Yeah. And like I said, so I think we differ. I think have the conversation, and cities, I think depending on how progressive they are, how conservative they are, you might see this falling along party lines when it comes to non-citizens suffrage. We did have several texters asked, what other country allows non-citizens to vote in their elections, or does any other country allow non-citizens to vote? And there are some. I mean, when you look at Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, the EU is very strict with non-citizen voting rules, but they do have some. For instance, in Sweden, Finland, and Norway, which is not part of the EU, by the way, they have residency requirements such as 3 years. In Finland, it's 2 years, and then non-citizens can vote in local elections. Another texter, he put his name, Todd. Todd said, well, there are over 200 countries on the planet. You mentioned 10. I don't even think I mentioned 10, but I was just giving an example. There is a more exhaustive list available on the internet if Todd would like to look it up.
He can Google that.
He can Google that if he would like more information. We have a texter from the 573. You are so free and easy with other Americans' rights. Shameful. Voting is a citizen's right, not a world's right. See sales taxes as paid as federal withholdings. Shameful. You would give away your country's right to vote for passersby who are here for the company's check.
I guess that's probably directed at me. And my argument, Amy, is I'm not wanting these folks to be able to vote in federal and state elections. Only the local elections where they're paying local taxes and they are a legal resident.
Yep. We have here, isn't it enough that they're in the greatest country on earth, yet you want to give away the fundamental right to vote as a citizen? You are a complete idiot to give away your fellow citizens' rights just because the green holders pay taxes. Sorry, the way the texts come in, it's a little broken up. Well, there's
any more uplifting text messages on that thought process?
Another text from the 573. Oh, this is the same person. This person was very prolific in their texting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Hey, the other thing that we covered today, we shouldn't get out of here without talking about, was Dan Meehan and the Missouri Chamber of Commerce visited with us.
Yep.
Really compelling stuff. Business leaders from all over the state of Missouri now standing up, wanting to deal with crime in the city of St. Louis and throughout other parts of the state, calling on the governor to take over in the legislature to allow some help as it relates to prosecution in the city of St. Louis. You know, I hear this in a lot of places I go. Businesses are saying, hey, we have an opportunity to maybe bring XYZ plant to this county. But once the research comes out, people are saying our future employees don't want to move to St. Louis because of crime.
We talked to St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman a week or two ago, and there was a manufacturing plant that was going to be an $800 million deal. They almost, and this was in Warren County, mind you, not even St. Charles County, Warren County. This company almost didn't build in Warren County because they're from out of state, and they, the generic idea of St. Louis, they were worried about crime.
Yep.
So again, the city's reputation, the city is the linchpin of the area, right? It holds us all together. So as the city goes, so eventually goes the surrounding areas.
Yeah, and then we've been talking about this for a while. I mean, we will rot from the core if we don't find a way to get this crime situation in St. Louis City and parts of St. Louis County under control. It's spreading out there. It's hurting us nationally from a reputation standpoint. Not to mention that it's causing folks to move away from the city. You have to have a downtown that's vibrant and working.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of vibrant and working, Steve Shankman, president of Contemporary Productions, is joining us in just a couple of minutes. They just released the lineup for the Evolution Festival in Forest Park in August. Holy cow, I'm so excited about this lineup, Michael.
There's somebody that you and I both like.
Oh, yeah.
We got the dreamer's disease. Age 14, they got you down on your... I consider myself sort of a student of life.
What's on Dave Glover's mind?
I've noticed recently that we are going through a reset spiritually. But if that's going to go away in large measures, it's going to be replaced with something. Even if it's just, I am God, I am Dave, I am this, I can do it all. Like we're going through weird times, and the people who either never had religion or have given it up are looking to replace it with something, and I just think that's fascinating.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 1 on KMOX.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
We're talking to Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center about why you, Dr. Bosler, love your field, audiology.
You know, what I hate is when people come and tell me that they avoid going to a dining hall at their place of residence because they don't want to have trouble hearing or ask people what. But what I love is when a patient tells me this, and then after wearing a pair of our hearing aids for a few weeks, they tell me that they no longer avoid those difficult settings. Helen Keller said it best, and I always say this, but blindness disconnects you from things, but hearing loss disconnects you from people. So at the Audiology Center, we try to care about you, and we want to reconnect you to your loved ones.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. She's Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today, 636-441-7470 or online, audiologycenterstl.com.
At 12:30, it's sunny and 58 degrees downtown at the Arch. A U.S. fighter jet shot down an unidentified object over Lake Huron on Sunday on orders from President Biden. It was the 4th such downing in 8 days. Pentagon officials believe the latest military strike is an extraordinary chain of events over U.S. airspace that has no peacetime precedent. The IRS is giving some people who received relief payments a break. CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
If you were one of the taxpayers who got relief from your state, you may be breathing a sigh of relief. The IRS has announced that relief checks that were issued by states in 2022 are not subject to federal taxes. These are usually payments that are related to general welfare and disaster assistance.
Unfortunate advertising placement.
McDonald's says it will remove an ad placed in a spot that's created a rather unfortunate juxtaposition. A local news outlet says in Cornwall, England, a big bus stop banner for McDonald's chicken sandwich, the McCrispy, had been placed right next to a road sign pointing to a crematorium. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
We've got some debris on 270 going north at Olive. The two left lanes are closed. Sunny and nice this afternoon with a high within a few degrees of 60. Tonight, some clouds, low 41. Tomorrow, start off with some rain, even a thunderstorm, steadiest rain in the afternoon with a high 54 to 58 degrees. Right now, it is 58 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Planning for an upcoming trip? It's important to know that updated COVID-19 boosters are currently available at no cost to you. Remember that immunity could take time to build. Check eligibility and schedule at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
When you have an electrical emergency, call Reinhold Electric right away. They answer their phone 24 hours a day to make sure they can get your power on and stay on as quickly as possible. If you are planning some changes, maybe you're doing a remodel or maybe building brand new, Reinhold Electric works with residential, commercial, and industrial. Having a small electrical issue with your house or maybe your electric panel, call on Reinhold Electric to come inspect it. Their number 314-631-1158, online at reinholdelectric.com.
I'm Dakota Hudson. I'm Jordan Hicks. I'm Cardinals pitcher Jack Flaherty. I'm Tommy Edman. I'm Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker. I'm Paul DeYoung. I'm Woodson Contreras. I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Well, the announcement was made earlier this morning. The lineup for the brand new Evolution Festival, August 26th and 27th in Forest Park. And then inaugural lineup, you have one of my absolute favorites in the whole wide world, Brandi Carlile.
Yes.
The Black Keys, the Black Crowes, Ben Harper and the Innocent Criminals, Ice Cube, Brittany Howard, and more. It's a star-studded lineup. I cannot wait for this festival. And to talk about the Evolution Festival is the genius behind the whole thing, Steve Shankman, friend of the show, president of Contemporary Productions. Steve, you hit it out of the park with this. This is so exciting.
So once I found out who your favorite artist was and the fact that she won 3 Grammys the other night and did a hotel commercial with her kids, I knew Brandi Carlile would be a hit with you. You were the first station to call for an interview, and I'm so excited for you that we're bringing somebody of such diversity to St. Louis. I mean, they like to say that she's pop, but she's really country, and she's really Americana, and she's going to be one of our headliners at our festival in Forest Park in August, and I'm so thrilled to announce that.
Oh, it's so awesome. And Brandi Carlile, I've been a fan of her since, gosh, I guess 2 decades ago at the pageant. She was opening for The Fray and was selling her own CDs behind a folding table. I bought my first Brandi Carlile CD from Brandi Carlile. She stood behind a folding table. The next thing you know, she's skyrocketing. She's winning Grammys. President Obama picked one of her songs. I think it was The Joke, that song that he picked as his most recommended song a few years ago. Really exciting that we're bringing these names to St. Louis, Steve.
Well, the whole idea behind this really, Amy, is to create something that is St. Louis pride. Hometown pride is so important in St. Louis. We've had, great venues. I mean, we developed Riverport back in the 90s, and then we went on with Joe Edwards and Pat Hagen with the pageant, and then the factory was Michael Steinberg's idea, but we were very involved in that as well. So great venues in St. Louis. And when there weren't great venues, we were at the Muni doing Starfest with Whitney Houston and Rod Stewart in the 80s. So we always found another way to do it, or Elton John under the Arch. But now with our own festival, the pride of St. Louis, the culture, we're bringing a festival that has so much diversity. So we want diversity in our food, diversity in our acts. I mean, think about it. We're celebrating 50 years of hip-hop, and we got Sugarland Gang. We got Ice Cube coming. We're bringing in things that are going to fit everybody's likes of music. And for those that aren't as attuned to that style of music, the great thing about a festival, you got all day and night for 2 days in August.
Absolutely. Where will the festival take place? What will the layout look like?
Well, what sold me was the site. Now, I've been around St. Louis, as you know, for decades. Our first show with Contemporary was at the Fox Theater with the Grateful Dead in 1970. So there have been festivals on the ball grounds, the ball fields. There have been festivals at the Art Museum on Art Hill. But I think the most pristine grassy area and trees for shade in August is Langenberg Field, which is right behind the Missouri Historical Society, behind the tennis courts, and before you get to the boathouse. Matter of fact, the boathouse with our partner, Mike Johnson, with Sugar Fire, that will be our VIP area for people buying the upscaled VIP ticket sponsors and dignitaries. But the main festival will be on Langenberg Field, which will hold up to 30,000 people. And then we also have Cricket Field, which is to the east, which we'll use for our back of house for food storage and all of that. So to me, being in the park as many years as I have with the zoo and all of my affiliation with that. And by the way, this is going to be great for the institutions. The mornings, there's no festival. So people will come to St. Louis or St. Louisans or region. They can go to the zoo, they can go to the art museum, they can go to the history museum, science center, walk the park, bike the park, enjoy St. Louis in what I think has been named the greatest park in the United States. I mean, it's bigger than New York. I mean, it's bigger than Central Park. So it's going to build a lot of community spirit and a lot of hometown spirit. And I think it's just like the Chiefs winning last night. They're our team too. I mean, we're taxpayers in the state of Missouri, so they're our team too, and I'm glad for that.
Really exciting stuff. And you mentioned the VIP area. Will it be have food vendors, drink vendors, as well as maybe local artists? What can people expect in addition to music?
Right. Well, the two stages, just to get that on the record, you have the East Side stage, which is our second stage, and that's going to be presented by Lindenwood, actually, University. And then we have our West stage, which will be the bigger of the two, where most of the headliners will appear over the 2 days. The VIP area is across, actually, the Taylor-Kindle River. There's a bridge that takes you over to the boathouse, and that's where we'll have our VIP tents. There'll be screens to watch the shows. You'll certainly hear the entertainment. And you'll have that VIP area for food and drink and all kinds of other things, demonstrations. But the entire festival grounds will be loaded with barbecue and all kinds of ethnic foods and local vendors. We have like the Gobble Stop, which is a reverse-owned barbecue place. We have Sugar Fire and Pappy's, hoping to add some more local vendors. And then we'll have all kinds of other food. So it'll be your traditional fair food, some of which is upscale. But, I mean, Steve Ewing, my buddy who's got a great band in St. Louis, so we'll have Steve's Hot Dogs there. So art, as well as art, we're talking to a couple of organizations in town about art. So we call it like an elevated festival, but with a regular price tag, because it's a $99 for 2 days. I mean, you can't find a ticket for $50 in St. Louis. Much the difference when you start looking at the shows that are coming. So a bargain price for 2 days, 18 bands, could be some other surprises. But we can't just talk about Brandy and Black Keys and Black Crows.
Right.
They're our three biggest bands, but you also Ben Harper, who hasn't been in a while. What a great artist as well, and one that benefits a lot of organizations. Just like we're helping with Forest Park Forever, getting part of our proceeds. And we're also working with St. Jude. They're going to have an activation area there. But Brittany Howard, I mean, think about it. When you get somebody from Alabama Shakes and has 4 Grammys, I mean, you talk about real diversity in artists that we'll have. Also diversity in our labor force, diversity in our staffing. So it's really all about bringing St. Louis together, a town that I grew up in, that I made my living in, that I raised I'm raising 3 kids, I raised 2 others, and then we add Ice Cube. I mean, I think my wife, Katie, wants to see Ice Cube more than anybody. I mean, it's just amazing when you get somebody that's TV and movies and also was part of the shaping of hip-hop on the West Coast. So as I said, we're celebrating hip-hop, and that's why we even added Sugarland Gang. I mean, old school, new music. I call it hip-hop to pop and everything in between. But, Amy, remember, this is our first year. By the second and third year, we'll be adding many more artists, many more disciplines of music. But we got to get the first one off the ground. And today was an exciting time to see TV and radio and people from all parts of the media show up. And thanking the Forest Park Forever was there. And it just explores St. Louis. St. Louis needs this. You know, there's a big economic part to this. Think about the sales tax of millions of dollars in tickets, earnings tax, small business that will get hotel rooms and gasoline stations and restaurants. I mean, people come in for days. And we had to do it because there is no festival in St. Louis, and you have all the major music festival, and you have all these festivals like Lollapalooza and Austin City Limits and Coachella and Bourbon and beyond down in Louisville. We're sitting here in one of the best music cities in America. I've watched the city grow from the 1960s when I was working with Everett Agnew, who was my mentor. He was an African-American, the first major promoter in St. Louis, brought the Beatles here. We're talking about Regal Sports. Mike Claiborne's father, Everett Agnew, and others. And he was my mentor. That's how I got started in the business. So we've really evolved from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. So let the music and the food and the bourbon and the spirits and the fun just show what we have and have people enjoy 2 days in the end of summer this year.
So exciting. It will take place in Forest Park on August 26th and 27th. You mentioned the $99 price tag for 2 days. Are single day tickets available too, or is this a combo deal?
Well, most people will buy the combo because the same acts don't play both days. But we would hope most people, if people can only be here one day, will buy a one-day ticket. And then also look at our other experiences for a little bit more money, the VIP experience. Believe it or not, 35% of all people that attend festivals in America, they buy a VIP ticket. And it's more money, but it's all the accoutrements that come with it and, things that people want, especially the usual festival goer. And you'll be surprised. The average age, I can't pick the number, but at Bourbon and Beyond is about 45 years old. So you get a lot of people that this is what they do in the summer. They go to festivals. I have friends that have been to 4 or 5 different festivals every summer. You hear about New Orleans, or they go to Bourbon and Beyond, or they go to Coachella. It's the experience of the summertime. It's the outdoor experience.
And people go to evolutionfestival.com. Tickets are available this Friday, February 17th at 10 a.m. And I'm on the website right now, all different levels of tickets. As you mentioned, it's a great lineup. Both days have really talented, different, diverse acts. I'm so excited about them. Is the pre-sale available right now, Steve?
If you sign up, you become one of our followers, and you will be in the pre-sale that starts earlier in the week.
Excellent.
So there is an opportunity to get out in front of it. And the reason you want to buy early is tiered ticketing, which all festivals are. So it starts out cheaper than it ends up. So we always encourage people to buy their tickets early and save money, whether it's VIP or it's a regular general admission ticket. But there are no regular tickets. The site is beautiful. The food will be great. The bourbon tent and the other things that we'll have available, the art and the people. People make up the festival. The media drives people to buy tickets, which we thank the media so much for being there today. And then people buy the tickets, and it's an experience that they'll have that will bring them back year after year. 60-70% of people that go one year, they'll go the next year as well. So thank you, and thank all of you at KMOX for all that you do for reporting the news. And what a great news day from the standpoint of KC and St. Louis, both announcing a winner, which is a lot bigger than the Super Bowl than a concert festival, but still, St. Louis, this is yours. It is our town, and it is our time.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Music, bourbon, barbecue, Evolution Festival, August 26th and 27th in Forest Park, evolutionfestival.com. I've been sending the link to my friends and family. We're so excited. We will be there, Steve. Great event for St. Louis. And thank you for joining us today. We look forward to talking more, and I'm sure as the event gets closer.
I'm happy to be with you anytime. Thanks so much, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you there.
Sounds good. We have Steve Shankman, president of Contemporary Productions, and he is announcing the lineup for the Evolution Festival right here in St. Louis in Forest Park. Michael, I am really excited.
I'm excited
I'm
too.
So excited about this.
For Brandy Carlisle. Hey,
Yep.
when we come back, I want to ask you if you can smell it.
Oh.
Something's happened in Missouri, and you can smell it everywhere.
Also, if you're a business owner, listen to this. GetRefunds.com. GetRefunds.com. If you have a business and you have 5 or more employees and you managed to make it through the past couple of years, you're probably thinking, I could use a little bit of a break, a little financial help. would go a long way. Well, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. It's not a loan, and it's nothing that you'll have to worry about paying back later. It is a refund of your taxes. I know the hard part is getting your hands on the refund money. You have to cut through red tape. You have to fill out all the forms. It can be a bit intimidating. You've already got tax season upon us, and you probably feel like you can't add anything more to your plate. Well, the team of tax attorneys that they've put together at getrefunds.com are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. They do all the work, so it's not on you. And there's no charge up front. What they'll do is they'll share a percentage of the cash that they get for your business. And businesses of all types can qualify, even those that took PPP, non-profits, and even companies that saw increases in sales. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-5555. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, behind on taxes houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-5555. That's 314-782-5555.
Hey guys, this month's DGS KMOX special with Zero Res is 3 rooms cleaned, starting at just $119 plus. They're throwing in a free hallway. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning for the month of February. 314-474-2020. ZeroResSTL.com.
Manor Grove has been caring for seniors for over a century. Everyone at Manor Grove is treated like family, and that's exactly how our residents should feel, like family. Our staff strives to make Manor Grove feel like home. Be assured, your loved one will be well taken care of at Manor Grove. The entire Manor Grove team views everyone inside as family and looks forward to seeing residents and coworkers every day. See for yourself at manorgrove.com and take our virtual tour. Welcome home to Manor Grove.
The St. Louis City SC Visa credit card from Together Credit Union is launching this Wednesday, February 15th, and it's the only place to get the official fan credit card. The fan perks and points are incredible. Go to togethercu.org for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Now, more of the show.
And welcome back to the show with Amy Marks, Course, and Chris Ranji. I'm not Chris. I'm Michael Kelly. I'm sitting in with Amy. I guess we're going to stick around because DGS comes in here in a couple minutes?
The Dave Glover Show, and we hang out for an hour. It's the crossover mishmash hour.
Really? And that's where the name
Mason Jar.
Mason Jar. I think I called him Jarhead, didn't I?
Yeah.
Mason Jar comes from?
Yeah, from Glover. I think that was the nickname that Glover picked because that day that I think I first talked about Mason Jar, I had brought in a Mason Jar with a coffee creamer in it because we don't have any real half and half here for all of the coffee that we consume as a company, which is a lot of coffee per capita.
Right.
You would think we would have half and half, and we don't. So I brought some in a Mason Jar, and somehow that became Mason Jar's name.
I know you to be one of the most intelligent individuals I know. You're well-read. You're well-researched. You put together thoughtful comments. Why would you leak the information of having Mason Jar on the Dave Glover Show of all shows?
Well, I
because he's like a shark with blood in the water. He's coming at you.
Well, it's Ranji's fault. Okay. Because what happened was like the holidays and all these parties, I was with Mason Jar and I hadn't said anything about it. And we share so much of our lives and our personal lives. I thought, okay, either I'm going to have to keep saying a friend or somehow avoid it, which would, I feel like, make the storytelling much more awkward or cumbersome, that I just jumped in during the show with Chris Ranji. And I said, well, I was with my boyfriend and blah, 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 blah. And he did not let that slide, as you can imagine. So not only did he make a huge deal about it on the show, that's how he opened the Glover show, because he wants to make my life miserable. And that's what he did. But it was pretty funny. You have to just jump in. People know that we're sharing our lives.
I know. I'm
every
with
day,
you.
all day.
I don't share any of that. But then again, I'm just a lonely guy by myself. So I keep that all to myself. Hey, speaking of, Amy, so I live in the West End, moved out there, right? And so there's a dispensary next to me.
Okay.
A weed dispensary, which I guess up until like last week was only for medical people who had a particular license from the state.
Okay.
Well, now I guess they've opened up all the weed shops. I don't guess, but I think they've opened up all the weed shops that anybody can go in. I don't know about you, but I feel like St. Louis used to smell like hops and barley, and now it smells like skunks. Everywhere I go, I was at the Galleria the other day in the parking lot, smelled like weed. I was on Highway 40 at Kings Highway, on the highway, driving 55 miles an hour, and I can see smoke coming out of the car in front of me, and it smells like weed in my car. I was walking by the cathedral on my walk this morning, the new cathedral on Lindell. It smells like weed in front of the new cathedral. What's going on?
I know. I mean, with obviously Missouri legalizing recreational pot, we would assume that we would smell it more often. I've always smelled it a lot, especially just like running or wherever you are driving, because it's such a heavy smell. It's even different than cigarette smoke. It's heavier. It
lingers
sits and
longer.
lingers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
And there have been, I think it was a couple of years ago, I swore I had a contact high in Forest Park, because people sit in their cars in the park and smoke, and it just sits and it floats onto the path. And I personally hate the smell. I think I have an allergic reaction. I don't know. It makes my nerves feel like they're all firing and I'm on edge. But
That's the opposite of what it's supposed to be.
I know, but it just makes me feel irritable. So I think with the legalization of pot, and that's the way our culture is going, I just wish they could at least make a odorless one.
Yeah,
Odorless.
I don't think that's going to happen. But I have experienced this in other cities where it feels like there's just marijuana. I was recently in New York with my mom and some other folks, and it felt like I could smell marijuana everywhere I went. Now, interestingly enough, I was out in Seattle. I went to a U2 concert. This could be 4 or 5 years ago. And Seattle is one of those states that had 100% legalized marijuana. And did not smell it at the concert, did not smell it on the streets.
Really?
Leaving the concert, saw somebody light a joint leaving the concert, and everybody around him is like, hey, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. So I was kind of impressed. I guess there must be like a self-policing that's going on, but that's not been the case in my neighborhood. I feel like I smell it everywhere.
And a lot of buildings, right? No smoking policy. And that goes for cigarettes and marijuana. So that kind of polices itself for apartments that say no smoking. Not everybody follows those rules. And I guess it depends on who's complaining and who's not complaining. But lest we sound like a couple of prudes, how do you stand on the issue?
I'm all for it.
So this is coming from someone who's all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, look, we're not putting the genie back in the bottle. It's legal in almost half the states in the country. I think eventually it will be legalized throughout the country. I don't see weed or marijuana as the same issue that you may see with some of the other illegal drugs, whether it be cocaine or meth or, I don't even know. I don't know anything about them. But they, those like heroin, those can just, marijuana, people smoke it 2 hours later, they're back to normal. And, nobody makes bad decisions who are smoking marijuana. I don't see any of them out there acting a fool like I see with people who drink alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, I see that argument a lot because personally, I'm for the use of medical marijuana. I think it can work wonders for people who are dealing with a variety of issues, even to Parkinson's, because Parkinson's is such a cruel disease with the shaking and you can't get rest. And marijuana has been shown to help some people with that. Way lower risk than opioids, which is just a crime the way we prescribe opioids across this country. However, with recreational marijuana, my personal feeling is that it's a the risks to society outweigh the benefits as a whole. But I understand that the culture is going in the opposite direction. So if that be the case, can we make it not smell so strong?
Yeah, I'm with you. Based on just very little research, Amy. I don't have much research on this, but I think that marijuana is far safer than alcohol. And I know that's like blasphemy to say in the home of Budweiser, but who knows? What do I know?
The king of blasphemy over here, Michael Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm Amy Markscores. We're hanging out with the Dave Glover Show in the 1 o'clock hour. Stay with us.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain, very